Welcome in to Rock Hard Ball, part of the Dogs Media Network at College Football Dogs. Let's get rock hard.
I don't think it's too crazy.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to another edition of Rock Hard Ball. As always, I'm Carter. That's Weezy. We got producer Cletus in here with us as well. Big show on the docket tonight. Probably going to be a little longer than usual. Obviously, most of our episodes have been right around an hour long. I wouldn't be surprised if tonight ends up going maybe an hour and a half, close to 2 hours, as we got a lot to talk about. As a reminder, make sure you check out the socials, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, all that stuff. We're going to try and get better here going forward, especially now that we're in season with, posting clips and stuff like that. So, if you missed something in the show, wanted to maybe pick up on it. If we thought it was a good little segment, we'll start posting those more too. So you can kind of catch up with the Spark notes going forward as well. But as far as today's episode goes, like I just said, a lot of stuff on the docket. Here's what we got for the rundown. We're going to be recapping week 1 of college football. Lots of big storylines to talk about there. We'll move into NFL talk eventually tonight, as well as we're going to get to preview that for the first time. We got Thursday Night Football coming up with Chiefs and Ravens. So we'll talk about what to expect from that game and what to expect from those two teams as we get ready for the NFL season. We'll do our NFL official playoff and awards predictions. We've done a couple different versions of kind of NFL predictions so far, but we haven't actually done a full prediction for, MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Rookie of the Years, Coach of the Year, stuff like that. And then we'll also give you a look at our playoff teams, our top 7 in seed order that we think are going to finish the year as. And then we'll give you a way too early look at each of our predicted Super Bowl matchups and who we think will be the Super Bowl champions this year. And then, of course, we'll finish up with Rock Hard Takes, Kelly's Kiki Rankings per usual. And yeah, that's kind of what we got, right?
Gonna be a long one.
Yeah, gonna be a long one. Should be a fun one, though. As I said, a lot of stuff to talk about. So let's start right away here, though. Let's jump right in. College football week 1 rundown. Here's what we got for some of the bigger storylines. We'll hit them one by one here in depth. But obviously, right off the bat, on Saturday, Georgia pumped Clemson. So we're going to get into a little bit of that one. Notre Dame took down A&M on the road. Big, matchup between two ranked teams. Miami, they might be the front runners in the ACC after, Clemson gets just pummeled. Florida State now 0-2. USC, LSU, not really sure what's going on there. We'll talk a little bit about that. Is USC actually a good team that might be a title contender, or is LSU just not as good as people thought they were? Some of the Big Ten teams struggle a little bit with some inferior opponents. We'll talk about that a little bit. And then a couple other ones. Got to talk about Nebraska, obviously. Good showing there in week 1. We'll get into that a little bit, and specifically from Dylan Raiola. And then finally, like I just kind of mentioned a second ago, Florida State season's over. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and what that's going to mean for them going forward for the rest of the year. So first one that we're going to talk about, though, and get into right away, Georgia pumps Clemson. Not a close game at all. Georgia controlled it for the entire second half. The first half was close. It was 6-0. But after that, things got ugly in a hurry for Clemson. They ended up losing the game 34-3. Carson Beck was efficient, and Georgia just looked like a well-oiled machine like they have for the past few years as they won national titles. And Clemson looks just lost.
They look lost, but I think I said on Thursday, and I think it still could stand true. We will know next week and the following weeks, but I said I think that they could get absolutely their shit kicked in, but that doesn't mean that they're necessarily a bad team. I think it just more so proves that Georgia is, 1A. Earlier, we said that there's a tier. With the way that other teams played, I don't think there's a tier. I think it's Georgia and then the field.
Yeah, I think you're right. That proved it. Again, it'll be a lot more telling based on how Clemson performs after this performance, because, we said the same thing with Florida State after they lost to Georgia Tech.
Okay, DJU, it's got to get warmed up.
Yeah, that didn't go so well, as, again, we'll discuss here. But yeah, I think you're right. I won't write off Clemson completely, but it also was still concerning, I thought. You can't, no matter how good Georgia is, it's still just a really tough look to lose 34-3 to any team in college football and still, be looked at as the favorite to win the conference.
When you get manhandled like that, it's just a different game between those two teams.
Well, yeah, and because, we talked about it too, with Oregon, when they got pumped by Georgia. So Oregon still went on to have a good year that year, but at the same time, I think throughout that year, we still knew that Oregon wasn't a team that was going to have a chance to win the national title. They were in playoff contention still, and they were still in contention to win the Pac-12 that year, but the Pac-12 that year wasn't special. And, was that the TCU year, right? When TCU went to the playoff,
I think so.
Probably. So it's that still wasn't a super special conference. No, they're Big 12.
That's Big 12.
who the hell won the Pac-12 that year? Was that Utah?
in 20.
Was that the years no one got in from the Pac-12?
I think so.
Okay, so that might have been Utah USC
That
when USC was supposed to make it, and then
USC
Utah
had to
beat them.
win to get in.
Yeah.
They lost that,
and then that's why TCU got in.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So
because TCU also lost to Kansas State.
yes, because they both lost the title games.
Yep.
But TCU had the better resume. All right, but yeah. So, but like I said, Oregon still that year wasn't seen as a real title contender. I don't think people necessarily saw Clemson as a title contender.
Yeah, I think it's just a boat though. It's like, yeah, not a great conference. ACC's not great.
So they might still compete for the ACC.
And also, yeah, nobody thought that Clemson was going to win a national championship this year.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's completely different. I just think it's an issue that, like, a lot of America thought that Clemson was going to make that a game. Vegas did. The spread was only 13.
Well, yeah, and then like you look at it from the flip side, most people in America didn't think Clemson was going to be a title contender, but I think Clemson still thought that they had that, juice to be a title contender. If you're in that Clemson locker room, you had to. Now you look in the mirror and you're like, we're not going to even come close to competing for a national championship this year. And that's a tough thing to realize, like, as a team. Like, obviously, yeah, the public has their opinion, but like, if you as a locker room still believe that you can compete for a national championship, that just gives you a lot more hope for the year. But when you just get pumped like this week one and like we're just completely just dominated and outplayed in every single facet of the game, it's tough to come out week in and week out and just continue to compete and look forward to a goal that you just know is unobtainable.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, internally, they probably think like they probably know that, but I don't think it's like locker room talk and search.
No,
like
but
season's fucked. Boys.
Yeah, no. Obviously, they're not walking around and be like, all right, let's play for the Citrus Bowl or whatever. But
let's sim the season.
No, definitely not quite like that. But yeah, all the players on the team, I think, know now. Like you just said, like internally, yeah, we're not going to win a national championship.
But you also though could obviously think it's week one, best team in the country. Like we got a whole year to just get in, and if we're playing good ball, it's a different story.
Yeah, it's a good way to look at it too. Dabo, though, it's kind of the same thing with the players, but probably on an even bigger level. He's had this refusal to adapt and still had the belief that they could still compete at a national championship level and be in these games. So I mean,
probably a wake up call.
You make a good point. Like, yeah, there's a full season in front of us, but I just don't think that they're going to get there to that level. So
now I think Clemson's in a weird spot though.
Exactly. That's kind of what I was getting to, is because now it's like, I mean, do we wait for Dabo to, like you said, wake up, or like, is there maybe a chance that they consider a coaching change, like eventually? Like, obviously, there really depends on how the season plays out. I know that, but
I don't know.
The past couple of years, I mean, they have not been anywhere close to what Clemson had built itself to be in the early, the late 10s, early 20s.
But I think because of what he's done there, and like bringing Clemson to that glory, I think that leash is really, really long.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll have the balls to actually execute that move.
What about, like, on the flip side, do you think Dabo, and again, this is a lot of speculation, but it's week one, that's what we're going to do. Could there be potential where he's like, I've run my course at Clemson, maybe they don't fire him, but he leaves for somewhere else?
I don't see why, right? Because what team would want to bring him in if the guy's not going to use the portal?
Well, so I saw like some interesting discourse, like, what about him going to like a Florida or like a California team where he doesn't have to use the portal as much, like he's in the heart of deep talent recruiting places where he's most effective? Could be a way to look at it. But I don't believe, like, again, I'm the one saying it, but I don't really believe it. Like, I'm just kind of throwing stuff out there, like hypotheticals, but I don't know, it's kind of interesting to think about.
The talent pool is definitely, like, if he goes to Florida, the talent pool that he could get there without the portal would be significantly better. But would it though? Like, you think about name brands like Clemson, Dabo,
Florida's still Florida.
I know. I think in today's game though, Clemson's viewed as a better program because they
are. As of recency,
So,
for sure.
I don't think anything happens there. I think eventually.
I think he sticks around for sure.
I think he sticks around, and I think eventually, if this keeps happening, again, it's week one, they could obviously bounce back and have a really good year. But if it doesn't, I think that's when maybe athletic department's like, hey, dude, there's great players in that portal.
Yeah, like let's like step in, like, hey, we're not going to fire you, but if you don't start using like the portal, then we'll look at it. Within a year or two.
Like,
if this continues, like if you continue to go 8-4, 9-3, and maybe get to an ACC title game, but like are just not really a real contender, like we're going to look elsewhere. Like,
that's probably the right move.
Yeah. No. Again, it's week one. We like to overreact, but that's what we're going to keep doing for all these games because it's fun to do, I think. So we'll keep that going as we move forward. Next one on the docket, let's talk about let's do Notre Dame, Texas A&M. One of the biggest matchups of the weekend. Obviously, Notre Dame wins the game on the road at A&M. Trying to find score here. I forgot what the final was.
They won by 10, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know why.
23-13.
Yeah, 23-13. Really impressive game, I thought, from Notre Dame. Obviously, we don't think that Texas A&M is going to be super great. Like, obviously, they came in ranked 20th in the country. Nothing crazy, but Riley Leonard wasn't anything stellar, but he took care of the ball. They ran the ball well, and the defense looks disgusting. They might be one of the best defenses in the country. So that bodes well, I think, for making a potential play.
That was gross. Third down was unbelievable. Kind of sucks, though, just thinking about it. Like, obviously, a great game. Notre Dame's going to go 12-0.
Yeah. No, they're going to get the 5 seed, I think, and they'll be firmly in the playoff and national title talks. And I don't know. I mean, it's exciting if you're a Notre Dame fan. And I mean, shout out to Marcus Freeman too. Obviously he's gotten a lot of good publicity here lately. He's, I think, now 8-4 against top 25 teams since he took over, which is a solid record. And I think in the last 3 years of Brian Kelly or something like that, they're 6-6 or 6-7. So he's outperforming the final years of Brian Kelly. Obviously, when Brian Kelly left, the sky was kind of falling for a bit there at Notre Dame, especially the way it went down, where he just kind of up and left and then had to tell the players afterwards.
Weird situation.
Really bad
Obviously,
situation.
We'll keep talking about him, but the most impressive thing is obviously Texas A&M. We'll say aren't just world beaters by any means, but week 1 to go in.
It's one of the hardest places to play in,
if not the toughest. So really big win. And by the way, I think the biggest tester, because obviously looking at their schedule here, their next test is going to be last week against USC, which obviously we'll talk about USC, but they have Florida State on the schedule.
That's not a real game anymore.
It's not a real game anymore. And outside, I don't see another game where they drop another team they drop. Maybe Louisville's a trap game, but that one's at home this year. Georgia Tech, who is ranked, but
they'd be better than we thought.
Shouldn't be ranked.
Yeah, probably not.
Georgia Tech's now ranked, so if you want to call that one maybe a tough game, which I don't think it will be.
Yeah. No, I think they are fully in control of a number 5 seed the playoff. I saw one person on Twitter or something posted a hypothetical, playoff if it were to happen today, based purely on just a resume. If you went off of the preseason rankings of what we had and who won what games in that first week, and technically by the way the playoff committee would probably rank them, Notre Dame would probably be the number 1 team in the country if you went just purely off of that.
Which is why I love that we don't.
Yeah, which
is God, everybody overreacts.
Yes. But it is still kind of funny because we talked about how it's good that Notre Dame, gets this advantage now of they can't get into the buys, but they can get that 5 seed, play the group of 5 team at home. But it is still kind of funny now where it's okay, they win their hardest game of the season. If they do end up going 12-0 and maybe even somewhat easily, maybe they don't really ever get tested at all, even USC, maybe they just take care of business easily. It is just kind of funny that they just cannot go higher than 5 still. Yeah. So,
which is obviously, you just said it. I should have said it when you first said it, but I don't think they'd be 1 if that came. It'd still be Georgia.
Yeah, no, they still wouldn't be 1, but I think they'd get a top 4.
I also want to go back to the last game because you're talking about Twitter. It's when the hell is Georgia going to stop calling neutral site games at Atlanta?
Yeah,
it's the biggest piece of bullshit of all time.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because it is really bumps their resume. It's not, they're playing it in their goddamn home state.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. How far is Atlanta from Athens? Is it even an hour?
I think it's 45 minutes.
Yeah, it's
and
very.
I swear to God, every year they play a neutral site game there.
Yeah, no, it is. It's absolutely
a home game.
They play playoff games there. It is really stupid. I think they need to put a stop to that. Especially I don't care about this. It's oh well, the neutral site game. I'm not going to throw a fit about that. But the playoff games, big bowl games that Georgia gets to play in Atlanta, can we move it? I get that the playoff bracket is kind of set up beforehand, but would it kill you to just switch them so that Georgia doesn't get a home game in the playoffs? It is ridiculous.
It is crazy.
Yeah.
Texas this year got a home game.
Mm-hmm.
That should not happen.
No.
Flip them. I don't care what it is. Obviously, I'm not mad as a Michigan fan. I got to see Alabama, Michigan in the Rose Bowl. That game was awesome. But for Washington, actually, they still ended up losing, so kind of talking out my ass here. But you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So Notre Dame, good win, start of the year. Let's go to another team who had a good win, not against a great opponent, but Miami. This is not really so much more about Florida. I mean, we'll talk about Florida a little bit, yes, too, because that was just embarrassing. But Miami just crushed them, 41-17. Cam Ward looks like possibly the front runner for the Heisman, I think.
Stud.
And I mean, Miami just looked good all over the board. They had playmakers all over the place. The defense played fairly well, I thought, for the most part. Graham Mertz, who we talked about a little bit last week, has had a Graham Mertz game where he just wasn't very good at all. He ended up getting hurt, right? Yeah, and then Lagway came in.
Yep.
So two complete different sides of the story here. Miami, are they back?
I think they're back.
They might be back.
And by back, like obviously we're not talking what Miami was in the 2000s
No.
and the 90s, but they're back in terms of they're relevant again to college football 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And now what's Florida?
Yeah, Florida. How long do you think it is until they fire Napier?
It should be this year.
Like I think it will be this year. Like how long of the season?
Oh, I don't.
Especially with their schedule.
They're gonna not. There's not many wins on that thing.
No,
if any. Obviously there are some, but
I mean, this made my preseason pick look just awful now because I picked Florida as like a possible surprising team. That like
I don't know though because
maybe they're a little frisky, could pick up some wins against some ranked teams. Still got a talented roster, but
what's a better way to go about things though? Do you just say, you know what, let them go? Just we're gonna lose a lot of games, tough schedule, or do you fire midway, bring in an interim? That might be an absolute dumpster fire because then it's like, then you're getting your shit probably kicked in every single week. Kids are transferring out.
Yeah,
I don't know the strategy there.
I don't know what Florida is going to do. I mean, they're just in an awful situation right now. Because
do you maybe fire him? You know, make the interim a guy. It's like, here, this is your tryout to be the head coach, which I don't think they would do. But
I don't know.
I think they write them out
because they're just completely and utterly, in any way you look at it, screwed. Like they have no hope for the season now. Like if they would have given Miami like a good competitive game. And if it was like still like this Miami team, if Miami still plays this way, but Florida also was like playing like up to or close to that level, and like this game ends like in a 41-35 win for Miami, and both teams just looked good, then we're having a completely different discussion right now. We may still be saying like, yeah, Miami might be back and a very good team, but hey, Florida also might, like I thought was maybe going to happen, be competitive with some of these teams that are on their very tough schedule. But now it's just a complete flip. Because I still don't like. I don't think Florida would be like an awful team and like a worse. Like if they're in the ACC, like the Big 12, like they might still win like 6 or 7 games. Like I don't think they're that bad because I do think that Miami is good. Like I think they're going to be a playoff team now.
Yeah, they have to be.
Yeah, they have to be. But at the same, like they're in the SEC and it's their schedule's brutal. Like there's just hope's bleak.
I mean, the best case scenario for them is like they are awful. Clemson's awful. Clemson's like, we got to go another way. They're like, all right, open check here, Dabo. Like put down the number. Which will never happen. I think they write them out the whole year, though.
Yeah.
Especially looking at that week 1. They know nothing's coming of this year.
Yeah, that's probably a good point. So, yeah, Miami, ACC front runners, I think. I think you agree because if it's not them, who the hell is it at this point?
Clemson, obviously. I'd like to see Clemson against, not the best team in college football.
Yeah.
What looks to be a landslide. So Clemson's the only one who I think still sticks around. And but besides that, I think it's Miami and Clemson. Obviously, Florida State's out. Virginia Tech had the year to finally be it. I mean, you can't be losing to Vanderbilt.
Yeah,
no. It's
no, yeah.
Bad look.
Quick shout out to Vanderbilt. Because what were they, like double-digit underdogs in that game, right?
10, maybe.
I thought it might even been like 14.
I think it was 10.5.
Okay. But yeah, Vanderbilt knocks off Virginia Tech 34-27. Got a little hairy for Vanderbilt a little bit towards the end.
They were up big. They jumped them right away.
Yeah, they jumped them right away, and then Virginia Tech came back, forced overtime. But Vanderbilt got the job done. So yeah, shout out because we dogged on them in the preseason predictions. We both picked them as the worst team in the SEC. And obviously, like maybe Virginia Tech wasn't as good as we thought they were, but at the same time, maybe Vanderbilt is a little bit better than everybody in the nation thought. You never know. So we'll see. Shout out to Vandy Chris at Culture Ball Dogs. He told everybody that Vanderbilt was better than people thought. So maybe they are. Probably not. They're probably going to lose a lot of games in the SEC. But give them their flowers a little bit here in week 1 for getting a big program win for them anyways. It's just Virginia Tech in week 1, but for a program like that, it's big. All right, let's get back to some of the big time games. One of the biggest games, I think, of the entire weekend, maybe the biggest, USC and LSU. Number 23 versus number 13 coming into it. USC ends up winning the game 27-20. Miller Moss looked pretty good for most of the game. They had playmakers all over the field for USC. I mean, they had multiple guys that went over, 50 yards receiving. So they were spreading the ball around. LSU on the flip side, I don't know. They looked good, really good at times, and then other times they just looked really, really bad and looked like they had no idea what they were doing. Garrett Nussmeier played a pretty good game for most of it, but then they just made a couple of boneheaded errors in big spots that ended up kind of killing them a little bit. So I mean, it says it on the graphic. What do you think? What do you make of it? Is USC like really good and like might be like an actual playoff contender, or is LSU just not nearly as good as people thought they were?
I have a hot take here. I think they're both bad.
Okay.
Going into that game, obviously LSU's favored. Over unders like 66, right? I think it closed at something ridiculous.
Yeah, it was really high.
Ridiculous. Which tells me that what most people thought, okay, both defenses bad, both offenses is really good. It was a low scoring game, and like USC has been the worst defense in the entire country for 2 straight years. They hit the portal a little bit, but like a little bit does not mean like, wow, those boys like looked really good. I think both teams are not very good.
Yeah.
I think USC has the talent. I don't think they're going to win a lot of games. I don't think that defense was as good as like it looked, and it's going to be all year. And then I think LSU is going to have problems at quarterback. I mean, they have playmakers around them, but no, I think both these teams are not very good.
Yeah.
They lost a lot. Like, I don't know why there's an expectation that both like one of these teams has to be now like a title contender. They're not going to be. Like, they both lost their starting quarterbacks who were Heisman favorites, picked 1 and 3 in the draft. I think it's going to be down here for both of them.
Yeah, I mean, you said a little bit of a hot take, but I'm riding the hot take with you. I completely agree because I mean, we both said it. I mean, multiple times as we got closer and closer this season. Like we talked about it when the college football, like just video game rankings came out, stuff like that. USC, yeah, they're just they don't do it for me. Like I don't understand what the like appeal is. Yes, they hit the portal a little bit, but it wasn't like anything crazy. Like you mentioned, I mean, Ole Miss, like yeah, they hit the portal and like legitimately improved, and they were already like a top 10 team in the country last year. So yes, they are a team that will probably make the playoff and might compete for a national title. USC is not that. They were 7-5 last year
with Caleb Williams.
Yeah, I don't understand it. So yeah, I completely agree. And people are talking about like, man, this USC defense is improved and like blah blah blah. It's like no, I think that maybe just both these offenses aren't as good as people thought, and both the defenses just didn't have to perform because the offenses aren't as good as they were supposed to be.
Like I'd love to see Texas go up against that USC defense. It's going to be a lot of points hang on them. I don't think it's that great. And then also like they hit on it like the beginning of the game, like over bettors were probably pissed too because it's like it was so evident that like USC had not fixed their tackling woes. They could not tackle. Yeah. They were driving down, and then every single time LSU and Garen Nussmeier would shoot themselves in the foot in the red zone. So no, I don't think it was. And then also I think LSU is just a poorly coached team. I don't think Brian Kelly's. I think he's officially on the hot seat.
No, yeah, he's in trouble, and they're in trouble with him. It's not a good look right now. But yeah, no, I just keep going back to the fact that it's like for all the media that I'm seeing, like following up that game, and like of course it was a standalone nationally broadcasted game, so everybody in the country was tuning in, and everybody's like crowning USC as like a team that's going to compete with Ohio State now in the Big Ten. It's like, what the hell are we talking about? Like, I'm sorry, like apologies, like to like I know a lot of our guys at Culture Ball Dogs are USC fans, including our president, Hunter. But it's like you guys are so delusional right now. Like the fact that you guys actually think that USC could compete with Ohio State and Oregon, you're trying to say that Ohio State and Oregon looked bad week 1. No, just please get that bullshit out of here. Like it is fucking ridiculous. Please stop because it's just not going to happen.
And it's also like. On Twitter, everybody's like, "Oh, Miller Moss, like this he was awesome."
Yeah,
that won't matter. You had like the greatest
college quarterback ever,
and he went 7-5.
Yeah, no,
Miller Moss being awesome was also inevitable.
Yeah,
like you cannot have considered like, Miller Moss gonna be, no, he's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Lincoln Riley, USC, like Miller Moss is gonna be awesome.
No, Lincoln Riley, like forever, no matter whatever happens with him in like his career, he will always have a job as. At the very minimum, a quarterback coach.
Yes.
Because, yes, the guy's a quarterback whisperer. Every single quarterback he has is good. And if, obviously, he's recognized, too, like, if they don't have it, he ships them out. They had the Jake Garcia kid a few years ago. It was like a 4-star. He came in. He eventually ended up transferring. And then we had Malachi Nelson now that just transferred out, a former 5-star. So, obviously, I mean, he can see, when the talent's there, he develops them and end up being good quarterbacks. But, again, yeah, that's just not enough right now for this USC team to be realistic. Yeah, I think they'll still be, a top maybe, probably 6 team in the Big Ten. But as of right now, outside of even Ohio State and Oregon, I still think that Michigan and Penn State are probably better than them.
Yeah.
So it's I just pump the brakes on USC.
Well, because like if you can score, what was the final of that game again?
27-20.
Yeah. Like if you win, if scoring 27 points against LSU, have fun scoring 10 against Michigan.
Exactly.
Or have fun scoring 10 against Ohio State. It's a tough game. And also, like, again, of those two teams, Michigan's offense has so far looked by far the worst. Michigan's going to get theirs against your defense because, again, I don't think it's very good.
Yeah, no. We'll kind of put a pause on it for now because it's just we're just kind of running in circles. I feel like, but yeah, no, I just want to stop with the USC talk. I guess we'll probably talk about it again a little bit later when we talk about the rankings. But yeah, no, they're not a national title contender. They're not gonna win the Big Ten. So let's just relax a little bit. Speaking of the Big Ten, though, we will talk a little bit about how some of the other big dogs maybe struggled a little bit. Who do we have? Oregon, Wisconsin, and Michigan. None of them again looked particularly great in week one. Oregon probably the worst in terms of like just if you look at the box score. I mean, they went 24-14 against Idaho.
Game was weird. Obviously, if you look at Gabriel's line, doesn't make much sense that they only put up 24 points. Yeah. But yeah, you bring that much talent in, they're looked at as like it's a flip of coin on who people think represent the Big Ten right now, Ohio State or Oregon. You can't win by 10 when you're a 50.5 point favorite.
Yeah, no, it's not a great look. I completely agree, but they still won. So it's like it's not like it's going to shatter their resume, or anything like that. And I still think that they have way too much talent on the team. I still think that Dylan Gabriel is going to be a very, very real, contender for the Heisman this year. So I'm not really panicking on Oregon at all. I think their roster's too good and their coach is too good. They're not just going to falter.
Yeah, no,
I just don't see that at all.
Unless your team loses, obviously, if you're Florida State, you lose twice already somehow.
Mm-hmm.
No, week one, I'll never panic, and I'm never gonna claim somebody to be a national championship contender like USC. Like I'm not going to. So yeah, did Oregon look like shit at times? Yes. I think it's a big deal?
No. One team that is maybe a little bit more concerning, not really expected to be a contender, but a team that people thought might win like 8 games, had a tough schedule. Wisconsin, again, they ended up winning it, so it's whatever, not the end of the world, but they only won 20-14 against Western Michigan. I think the bigger concern though for Wisconsin is that they don't know what's going on with like quarterback. Like I don't know if Tyler Van Dyke is going to be a great guy at that spot for Wisconsin. And again, we met, like I just said, their schedule's kind of tough. They weren't expected to win, crazy amount of games anyways. So, again, just it's week one. So we like to overreact and we'll overreact a little bit, maybe a little bit of cause for concern, but I think in the long run, they'll still be okay. But
yeah,
I would agree worth mentioning that they, struggle a little bit there in week one. And then finally, Michigan, your boys, they did also, they ended up winning by 20 points, 30-10 over Fresno State. But it took them a while to kind of get things rolling. They ended up scoring 17 in the fourth. But again, same story. But conversely to Wisconsin, maybe a little bit of a bigger deal because they, are seen as a potential title contender. And obviously they're coming off and trying to defend their title. I don't know what's the feeling on the quarterback situation. I mean, it's not you can't lie. It's not a great.
I went through 2 totally different emotions. Still have 2. One, yes, the offense does not look great. Do I think Davis Warren's a very good quarterback? No. Do I think it's all on him? No. You lose your entire offensive line. New comes in. I don't worry about it because Jim Harbaugh preached that we have 14 offensive linemen that all look good. That O-line did not look good.
No.
Which I think Donovan Edwards got a lot of shit for his performance because obviously EA cover. I don't think it was entirely his fault. I think that offensive line had by far the worst game, which was indicative of Edwards' line and Warren's line. But 2 things could also be true. That offense did not look good to start. They picked it up in the fourth, which is true. They have a great number 1 option in Colston Loveland, who's, in my opinion, by far the best tight end in the country. And then also in terms of the other, like it's not Idaho. They didn't play Akron. I don't want to say like, oh, Fresno State. But Fresno State is a lot better than people think.
Yeah, no,
they are a dark horse to make the playoff as a Group of 5 representative.
Yeah,
that spread was 21. It was 20. So why people watched that game and thought like, oh, Michigan's all the way off? No, they're not. It's week 1. All new offensive line, new quarterback. It's going to take a little bit, but like it's going to take a little bit. You have 5 days though now.
Yeah. No. The only thing that at all concerned me a little bit with Michigan was just quarterback. That's literally it because the defense is still very, very, very good. The defense is going to keep them in every single game that they play, just by not allowing the other team to score points. But at the end of the day, if you want to be a true title contender, and you're not just completely physically dominating, it's like last year, like. Yeah, people like to make fun of J.D. McCarthy, say he was a handoff merchant. The guy still went, whatever it was, 11th in the draft for a reason. Like he was a good quarterback.
That's the one. Like obviously, Twitter's just a bunch of trolling, and I get it, but that's the one narrative I can't stand.
The handoff merchant.
Well, no, not the handoff merchant. The fact that like everybody's like, oh, Michigan doesn't have a quarterback. Like there's no chance that like You bastards said we didn't have a quarterback last year.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what the hell are we talking about?
Yeah, but again, as a rational person, this is not like you guys don't have JJ McCarthy this year. So yes, it's going to make things just a little bit tougher. But I still think that there is a very good shot that they can find themselves in the Big Ten championship game. Maybe even win it, and be in the playoffs, could compete for another title. Are there chances less than last year? Yes, absolutely.
Yes,
I think every
100%.
single person on the planet would admit that.
You'd be dumb if you thought no, like it's same. No,
But you're also super stupid if you don't think that they're a top 12 team.
yes.
So
we'll obviously get into Michigan, Texas next year. I have one more thing to say. Obviously, as a Michigan fan, I watch every game. I could have spoiled this out. Like college football fans would think Donovan Edwards is that good. Last year, he wasn't even the second best running back on the team. This year, he's not the best running back on the team. Clell Mullings, from now on, will be getting Blake Corum's numbers, I think. He reminds me way too much of Hassan Haskins back in 2021. Linebacker, converted running back. I think he's going to put up massive numbers this year. That offense has finally started getting rolling when they're like, all right, we're going to get the ball in the number 20's hands, and we'll see what happens. And that's when everything started to click.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the next game. Another kind of a bit of a homer game here, but we got to talk about it. How good is Nebraska and Raiola? Again, we go to school here. I'm a pretty big Nebraska fan. Weezy, roots for him too. He's obviously a Michigan fan, through and through. But yeah, he still roots for Nebraska. But man, I got to tell you, and it's like I think the rest of the world picked up on it a little bit too. Nebraska looked good.
Right.
It's like UTEP isn't quite like what you just said, like Fresno State. Like they're not like that level, but it's like for those who don't, like UTEP is a solid like group of 5 team. Like they'll probably be like bowl game like team this year. They'll win games, and so they're not complete slouches. But I mean, it's not even just the fact that Nebraska went out and just handled business and put them away. It's just how they did it. It's like Raiola came out, he was composed, he executed at a very high level the entire game. The one clip that's going viral right now is him, making like 3 checks at that too, but like the
number one.
the multiple checks like at the line of scrimmage as a true freshman quarterback in your first college football game. The helmet for everybody trying to make this argument was shut off. It shuts off at 15 seconds. This was inside 15 seconds. He like checked the protection. He motioned the running back twice because he was trying to figure out the play. He checked into a run play and it busted for a big run because he just read the defense. And it's like just little things like that are just huge for a team that just has not had a quarterback for years. He won Big Ten Freshman of the Week, and I'm stoked. Like I'm super excited. He threw for 238 yards, 2 touchdowns. For a fairly high completion rate. I don't know what the exact math is, but 19 for 27, somewhere around like probably 66% ish, a little higher. So yeah, he was just really effective. The running backs all looked good. They had the one fumble with Dowdle. But that's not a huge deal. The playmakers, Isaiah Nair, Jamal Banks, both looked really, really impressive. Nair was all over the place, it felt like. And then Jamal Banks, of course, the one
catch was
touchdown throw.
Yeah.
Oh, that was just art, dude. I mean, Raiola put it in the spot where only he could get it. Perfect back shoulder fade. I mean, there's just a lot to love in the game.
A lot of positives. Obviously, you mentioned it. It's UTEP. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Again, but you throw in Henrik Heiberg, you're not going to see that against UTEP. You're not. Dylan Raiola is obviously incredibly talented. You mentioned the fumble, but unlike Nebraska, where it feels like all the time in these games they'll shoot themselves in the foot. It's going to be way too. No, it was just an ass kicking from start to finish.
And that's what they just haven't been able
they
to do.
Haven't been able to do in the past, years going on. So, and then for Nebraska and Michigan, it's like, okay, we obviously saw Raiola look good. You got this week to figure it out because like it's a big game. And obviously, Colorado's defense I think is dog shit, so I don't think it will matter.
Yeah.
But it's like it's not UTEP though.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's like.
No, you're playing a Power 5 opponent. This Power 4 opponent.
It's not just Nebraska fans who are watching. Obviously, some college football fans who want to see how good Dylan Raiola looks like. No, like this game will have 13 million people watching.
No, it'll be. I would not be shocked if it ends up being one of the maybe even like borderline top 10 like watched games of the season. It's a night game. It's on NBC. I'm pretty sure. Yep. So yeah, there's gonna be a lot of eyeballs on it. It's a lot of people are gonna tune in to see Colorado's electrifying offense. Obviously, Raiola now.
They're not tuning in for that.
Well,
it's called a hate watch.
Okay.
And about 99% of America's tuning in to hate watch that game.
True. But I mean, we'll preview it more like as we get closer on Thursday. But I mean, I'm going to go on record right now. Like I really think that there's a chance that Nebraska comes out and just puts the game away like early. I don't think it'll be necessarily like full blown blowout, but I could see them getting up by like a couple scores, in the first half, and they just don't let them back in. I think they're going to dominate the line of scrimmage. on both sides. And I think as long as Raiola, can stay composed, it's going to be a much different environment than UTEP. Like, obviously, people were fired up first game of the year, but night game in Memorial, like, get goosebumps just like thinking about it. Like, it's going to be rocking in there. It's going to be so fun. But no, I thought he was amazing. I thought he was really, really good. I don't think he could have asked for a better debut.
No.
Like, for those who don't know, he played 2.5 quarters, and that's the stat line he put up.
Yeah.
So again, yeah, it's UTEP, but I don't care. True freshman quarterback went out there, looked really, really good. I don't remember if I bookmarked it, but there was some stat I saw like on Twitter that he was the first true freshman quarterback to do since something. I don't know.
Since I know the stat you're talking about.
Oh, okay. He it was his PFF grade, which obviously PFF
like
isn't gospel, but yeah, he's 79.5 PFF grade in week 1, highest graded debut by a true freshman quarterback in week 1 since 2018. So
I'd love to know who would have been.
I don't know who that would have been. It'd be really funny if it was Adrian Martinez, because he started as a true freshman. I don't know if he started week 1 for sure, but he had a good.
I think they would have put his name on it if it was.
Yeah,
I think that screams Bo Nix.
Might have been. Yeah, he had a really good first game that first year at Auburn.
Yeah, because I'm just thinking the guys who started as.
I thought his freshman year was in 2012 though.
Right? No, but he would have been 2018.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I think the future's bright. I'm trying to again keep my expectations somewhat tempered, but just the more I look at the schedule now and how some of the other teams looked and how Nebraska looked, like I'm getting closer and closer. Like I started the year like I think we'll go 8-4, and I'll be very happy. Inching closer and closer towards like 9-3, maybe 10-2. Like I don't think 10-2 is out the window at all. Like they'll lose to Ohio State, but then like I wouldn't be shocked if the only other game they drop is like maybe like an Iowa or maybe an on the road at USC. Wisconsin didn't look great this week. I think they could beat them at home. And then obviously we have this first stretch that like most people expect them to go 7-0 in. There's UCLA, it's an 8th. Wisconsin should be a 9th. Pick up one against either USC or Iowa, that's 10. I don't think it's crazy, but
no, I'm right with you.
Yeah, but a lot of it hinges on how good Raiola ends up looking. Can they prevent them from shooting themselves in the foot, which they've had trouble doing?
Was there over under on wins this year?
7.5.
Okay.
So yeah, I think the over is like already basically
something would have to go bad for it to.
Yeah, no, I think it would have to be like an injury for that to specifically Raiola. I think because he just looks different. He looks like a real good quarterback. I mean, seen multiple national personalities being like, this guy might be the best quarterback in college football in like 2 or 3 years. So very, very excited. All right, I'll stop talking about Nebraska because I know not everybody cares about them. Let's get to Florida State though, because they suck. They're really, really bad.
Really bad.
They're really, really, really bad. So obviously they dropped last week's game to Georgia Tech by a final score of 24-21. Everybody's like, what we've done with a lot of these teams, no panic, like relax, like it's first game of the season, maybe coming a little slow. And then Boston College just dominated them for the entire game. They lose 28-13. Shout out to Thomas Castellanos because I think everybody kind of loves him now.
He's a stud.
He was electric.
Did they ever say his height? I never picked up on the height, but I know he's short.
Yeah, he's little. I don't know.
We Google that, Clyde.
Yeah,
I already got it. He's 5'9".
Jesus.
Sorry.
I love that. Just running around back there.
Yeah, no, little guy, put in work. DJU sucks.
Really, really bad.
You texted me during the game, and I completely agree because I watched them a little bit, but like not a lot by any means. Like I'm not gonna lie. How the hell did Oregon State win games last year?
Yeah, because I texted Carter. I was like, I did not watch. Like, shame on me. I didn't watch Oregon State. Like maybe here and there. They won a decent amount of games last year. That's like Jonathan Smith should like get like a Hall of Fame nod now.
Yeah,
for doing that. Dude, he couldn't hit like a simple pass. That one corner out at the back of the end zone. Do you remember when I don't know if you saw when the 2 defenders collided wide open? He just airmailed it into the student section.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell happened to him, man?
I don't know. It's like almost sad, like because I don't know how he's this bad. Because we saw him at Clemson. Like, yeah, he wasn't super great, which is like why they moved on from him because they again wanted to compete for national titles and they didn't think they could do that with him. Goes to Washington State, thought to have had a little bit of a rebirth, or Oregon State, excuse me, thought to have had a little bit of a rebirth. Moves on to Florida State, team coming off an undefeated season. Thought they got left out, slighted from the playoff. Brought back a lot of the same talent. But my God, we did not realize how much of a step down it was from Jordan Travis to DJU. Because he's terrible. He can't throw the ball downfield. It's ridiculous.
And then speaking of that too, he moves like he's 45.
Yes.
Well,
he
my
is
God,
probably close to 45. But
he's already fat. I don't know what he's listed. I think they said he's like 240 maybe. Dude, he doesn't move. Like he got tackled and the defender bounced off.
252.
252. He literally is the slowest guy I've ever seen move around back there. It's bad. I don't know what the hell's.
No, their season's over.
Like, what do you do this year? It's like obviously Mike Norvell can't be on the hot seat. You guys went 13-0 this year, but like at the same time, it's like there was high expectations again. You got your guy quarterback. You thought you can't just kill this season and end up going 5-7.
Well, yeah, that and it's like what the hell do they do with him too? Like, I feel like you can't like really bench him because who knows how much money they paid him to come there. I mean, right? Like he was, let's see. I mean, with Gabriel, Will Howard, who were the other top transfer quarterbacks? Cam Ward. I mean, he was definitely top probably 3 or 4 there then for transfer quarterbacks. And I mean, Florida State, I have to assume outside of Oregon probably had their pick of the litter. They picked him. It's like, man.
Maybe. I think Cam Ward probably.
Cam Ward feels Miami.
That's a Miami guy for sure.
Yeah.
So, no, they're in trouble. I don't think though, just because you paid the guy a lot of money doesn't mean that you have to roll him out every year.
Yeah.
I mean, every single week. I don't think they will.
But he'll have a longer leash. Like they're going to give him more room. I mean,
he'll start next week.
Again, he is a not super proven, but like experienced and like solid quarterback. So we thought for a lot of time, we still thought he was an above average quarterback. I mean, but man, he looks lost. He looks like he forgot how to play football.
I think he did.
It's really bad.
Like a joke.
That one stat. I mean, he
looks confused on the bench. That might just be like a what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
Like thing. Like I came.
It's like that. He's probably going through that thing where it's like, you're playing a basketball game and it's like you're just shooting terrible and like finally you have that one that you just completely airmail and like you look at your hand like what the hell is like going on? It's like you like almost like it's like the most like cliche dumb thing to do to be like, oh, like it has to be my hand. But sometimes that's what it feels like. It's like, did I forget how to play?
Or it's like when like you're playing a team that you're infinitely better than, like maybe you've played them before, you kind of coast into the game like, oh, and then it's like you guys are just getting jumped out like right out the gates. You're like, what the hell is going on right now? That's the feeling too. It's like I came here to like win the ACC, go back into the college football playoff, like went to Oregon State to build, and now I'm already out. Which
no, it's crazy. Like they're
long year until
they're the first team to be eliminated from the college football playoff.
Yeah, they're done.
Like they're done. They cannot get in unless they somehow run the table in the ACC. Even then, they might not still get in because they've already have 2 conference losses. I don't even know if they could get to the championship team at this point. So yeah, I think they're done. They're technically probably not mathematically eliminated, but I think they are virtually eliminated from the college football playoff. Congratulations, first team out. But I mean, hopefully they can get things figured out for the rest of the year. Like I'm not going to sit here and hate on Florida State. I don't have any reason to like dislike Florida State, but my God,
I think it'd be a little funny if they just like, because this week people are like, oh, okay, they're going to bounce back big, and they don't.
Everyone thought that was going to happen this week.
It's like, okay, that's what I'm saying. And now it's like, okay, week 3, like, what if they just get their shit kicked again next week? And like that would like be funny if they just like every week everybody's like, all right, they're gonna
they're just awful.
They're just really, really bad.
Memphis is no slouch. Like they're expected to be a team that
I think Memphis beats them.
They're supposed to compete for like that playoff spot.
I think Memphis beats them.
Yeah.
Do you think morale shot when you're 0-1? I don't think morale shot gets really that shot if you're 0-1, because I do think like if you're Clemson internally you're thinking, okay, you can afford to lose.
Well, especially they lost to Georgia.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm saying like it's the time of the year where you can now afford to lose one. Then you go and lose the second one. Now it's like, okay, well now we're just fighting to play in the fucking Music City Bowl.
Yeah,
and I don't want to do that.
No,
I think they get rolled by. They're not going to get rolled by Memphis, but I do think Memphis wins.
They're in a very, very dangerous spot. I mean, you look at their schedule.
Do we have an opening spread for that game?
Huh?
We have an opening spread for that game.
I don't know.
Clyde, could you get on that?
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, what I was saying was, so you look at their schedule though. So if they hypothetically they lose to Memphis, that's 3 losses. They still have to play Clemson.
We'll lose that.
At Miami.
Lose.
At Notre Dame.
Lose. So
that puts them at 6. That would mean that they cannot afford to lose a single other game for the rest of the season to still make a bowl game.
And then who else is on the schedule? Is there any like
Cal at SMU? At SMU could be
lost.
Could be a tough game. At Duke probably would be a win.
Yeah.
At home versus North Carolina, I would assume to be a win. And it's Charleston Southern and then Florida to rip up here.
Okay.
How funny would it be though?
They get smoked
by Florida. They go into that game, whatever, 5-6, and then Florida beats them by 20. Graham Mertz throws 4 touchdowns.
Goes berserk.
Yeah.
There's spread for that game.
Yeah, it's -1.5 for Florida State. 1.5.
1.5.
1.5.
And I'm assuming by kickoff.
What do you think?
And that'll be like 2 Memphis.
If that game had a
Probably
line,
Memphis
if that game had a line preseason, what do you think it would have been?
preseason.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Florida State minus 20.5.
Yeah.
That's wild. All right. Should we stop dogging on them for a little bit?
Yeah.
All right. I think that pretty much wraps it up for college football headlines. Again, big week. As before we get out of college and officially move on to the NFL and then, rock our takes, Kelly King rankings, let's now go take a look at the AP Top 25. Now that we've officially, kind of talked about the big games, what happened, and then we can talk about why we now have these rankings. So here's the new rankings, 16 to 25. Clemson comes in at 25, so they drop all the way down 11 spots after getting pumped by Georgia. NC State stays put at 24. They had a little bit of a scare in their game, but they ended up taking care of business down the stretch. So I kind of understand just keeping them there. Georgia Tech, like you mentioned, jumps all the way up to being ranked at 23, which I would have understood it more if they beat Florida State won this week.
Yes.
But the fact that Florida State lost probably even worse to Boston College, they did technically
lost worse,
by score. I don't really understand why Georgia Tech's ranked. I mean, congrats, whatever, give them their flowers, but
sick for a week. But
I don't think they're gonna drop out pretty quick. I think.
Yeah, I think it was just more of Florida State's a bad team. So took care of a bad team. They will not be ranked going down the stretch.
Yeah. Okay. So 22 is Louisville, 21 is Iowa, 20 is Arizona, 19 is Kansas, 18 LSU, 17 K-State, and 16 Oklahoma State. So, I mean, notable ones in there. Nothing too crazy. I mean, Iowa jumps up 4 spots because I guess people might think that they actually have, an offense, which they did. We didn't talk about it, but shout out, first half looked like same old Iowa, but I'll give respect where respect is due. Like they looked like they had a legitimate.
They had something.
It was Illinois State. It's an FCS team, but I mean, in the past, it doesn't matter if last year they played South Dakota State was a very, very good FCS team. They won the title last year, but Iowa played them week 1. I think the final score was like 6-3 or something like that, maybe 9-3. They still just couldn't score.
Yeah, good team, rolling.
So yeah, I guess shout out
another team. We should probably talk about a guy because we weren't going to T-Mac for Arizona.
Oh yeah,
let's talk about that game.
That
New Mexico's offense is bad, but 10 for 308 and 4 touchdowns is like utterly ridiculous.
Yeah, no, he's. I mean, is he like Heisman watch? Like
yes, I mean he's leading it first week.
Yeah,
he won't. But
no, but like
first week.
No, that's what I'm asking. Like, you think there's like a legitimate shot that he maybe find himself as a finalist?
Oh,
like if he puts up like ridiculous stats, but like Arizona,
I think
it's 8-4. Do you think they'd still like give him the nod?
If he puts up like,
I guess what did LSU go last year? 9-3.
Yeah,
they weren't. Yeah, okay, yeah, fair enough.
I think it's very possible. I mean, he that game to open up. Yeah, he could get in there.
And what's the receiver's name too? Because he was stupid.
Who, LSU?
No, not okay. Not the
the QB,
the quarterback's name, not the receiver's name.
What is it again?
I don't know. That's what
I'm
I'm trying to
figure out. Keyboard warrior, but
let's search up Arizona quarterback. Came with Kyler Murray.
Is he still there? But no,
Fafita, yeah. That guy played good too.
Yeah, no.
But yeah,
they were awesome.
Shout out to my dynasty too, by the way. College Football 25, because T-Mac also went crazy in that. Because I run no glitch plays. But in the occasional instance that I went deep with him, he outran the defense every single time. So yeah, it's a fun player.
It's truly remarkable. And if he has any other game like that, then like, yeah, he'll be.
It's his. I think the reason I said quarterback is because I kind of like blinked for a second. Like his stat line sounds like a quarterback stat line.
Yeah,
like it's ridiculous.
Like 10 for 308 and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah,
that's a quarterback.
No, it's stupid. So yeah, shout out Arizona. They're exciting. And then LSU, I guess we'll mention, dropped 5 spots to 18, which obviously we'll talk about it later when we get to USC. But it's like, so they only dropped from 5 spots, so I guess they must be respecting that USC beat them. That being said, let's get to the next slide. 6 through 15. 15 is Oklahoma. 14 is Tennessee. 13 is USC. They jump up 10 spots and take LSU's spot after beating them. Number 12, Miami. 11 is Utah. 10 is Michigan. 9, Missouri. 8, Penn State. 7, Oregon. 6, Ole Miss. Anything that jumps off the board you hear?
The only team that truly got punished for winning was Oregon, which I think, again, makes sense. You were favored by 50. You only won by 10. Michigan drops a spot. Again, I don't think they're overreacting quite as much as the media is and the public, because it wasn't the worst game of all time. And then obviously Like Missouri, like are we still like? I'm still so confused on Missouri because
Yeah, I don't know where the hell
I
to
think
put
they
'em.
could be really good. I don't know if they're 9 right now, but I also like could see why they're 9.
That's like Penn State too. Like the West Virginia game, they open up kind of slow, but then like I feel like they dominated like after that. Like Aller looked good. They pushed the ball downfield. The offense looked rejuvenated, and it's like we were all pretty sure that West Virginia team is going to be solid. And it's like if West Virginia is a solid team, like Penn State might be pretty good.
Yeah,
because they controlled that game. They more than covered the spread. They doubled it. So I think that Penn State too could almost be worthy. I mean, they stayed put because it's hard to really move them up when like the teams in front of you just shit on like teams like by like 50 points that were just terrible. But still, I think of the probably whatever top eight or whatever teams other than like Georgia, they probably had the best win, right? I would say.
yes,
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that that this week bodes well for them. And then finally top 5. I mean, all these teams kind of did their job except for Notre Dame, who's the notable team that moves up into the top 5 here. Did Alabama also technically move into the top 5? No, they were at 5. They were at 5, but they moved up 1.
Yeah.
So this is
team
just
dropped 1,
Oregon,
and then Oregon dropped all.
Yeah. So yeah, Georgia, Ohio State, Texas, Alabama, Notre Dame. And again, Notre Dame, the notable one, they did jump 2 spots.
I
the
think
winner of
that's
Texas A&M.
I think that's more of a projection though. Thinking, okay, well, like Notre Dame probably doesn't have a loss on that schedule from here on out, so put them at 5. Will probably be. Then obviously, every single SEC team that was ranked. We talked about Ole Miss, Alabama. Just beat the shit out of people.
Yeah,
that's SEC football.
Yeah.
You don't see other conferences do that. Like when my roommate told me like, oh, you should check out the Ole Miss score. It's like, what is it? 1,000,000-0? Yeah, 76-0. Like in the beginning of the 4th. Like that's such an Ole Miss score.
Was that who had the game that they like shortened the quarters like 5 and like the 4th? Do you remember that? Did you guys see that?
I did not see that. It had to have been Ole Miss.
I actually don't even know if it was a big team.
It was 76-0 going into the 4th against Furman. I don't think that's legal.
Yeah,
I don't think that's illegal at like the FBS level. So it had to have been like some.
It must have been a small. I don't remember, but yeah, somebody was just
could have been
pumping someone, and they shortened the 4th quarter to like 5 minutes. There was another one too.
I think there is.
There. I know there was one
time
for sure with an FBS team that they shortened it to 10 minutes. I know for a fact that there was like a Power 4 conference FBS team who was blowing the shit out of somebody. And
this week,
this week, and
it had to have been Ole Miss. They were up 76-0 and going into the 4th.
I think it was. Yeah,
they shortened that to 10.
I think.
I
would imagine it was
one of them
24.
But then there was another game. I think it was it Stephen F. Austin or something. I don't know.
I would have imagined that they just ran the clock regardless of like incompletions. Did we got nothing on that?
I'm still trying to find this. Okay, yeah, so Stephen F. Austin.
Nathan's saying it's Arkansas.
Oh yeah, it was Arkansas. Yeah, it was Arkansas.
Okay. So they shortened it to 10.
Yeah, and then so Stephen F. Austin was beating some Houston area like D2 score, something like that, 70-0 at the half, and they played the 4th quarter in 5 minutes. So yeah, so shout out to the little guys that got the shortened quarters.
How embarrassing that's got to be.
Apparently Kentucky also did it. I didn't know that one, but was theirs also 10 minutes? I don't know. Let us know. Thanks, nerd.
I think like grown college kids, like, all right, let's shorten this one up, fellas. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, it's kind of a tough look.
Oh, bad.
Yeah,
it's demoralizing when it's like 7th grade basketball or like hockey and it's run time. It's like this is already like let's just
get out of here.
You're an FBS school in front of 80,000 people, and the rest like let's just get the hell out.
Yeah, no, that's enough of this. But all right, that's gonna probably wrap it up for college football for the week. Of course, on Thursday we will start previewing week 2 as we have a couple of really big matchups specifically for me and the Weez. Probably the biggest week of the season for us. Really, I think so. I mean, you're playing Texas.
Yeah.
We're playing Colorado. Yeah, Colorado's not some top tier team, but it's like I know we're gonna get pumped by Ohio State. So like I don't think that's gonna be a big game. But Colorado, it's a nasty rivalry. It goes back. It's got a lot of history. And it's a game that they got to win to really make a statement this season and kick it off right. So I'm excited to talk those games more in depth on Thursday, and we'll preview, of course, all the other big matchups that we got coming up. But for now, we're going to get to a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk NFL, as that is finally back. I'm excited to talk that as well. We'll preview Thursday Night Football. We're going to do our playoff predictions, our award predictions, stuff like that. And then, of course, we'll finish up with Rock Hard Takes, Kelly's Kinky Rankings. But for now, quick commercial. You're listening to Rock Hard Ball, part of the Dogs Media Network at Culture Ball Dogs, and we will be right back.
On the College Football Dogs website, you'll find a main page that features some of our biggest and newest stories. Our conference pages for content related to your favorite team's conference. Our team store, where we have products that are available all year long, as well as gear available for a limited time only. Our podcast page, where you can see when one of the 12 plus College Football Dogs podcasts is streaming live on social media. Our subscription page, where you can join our Discord. If you're interested in becoming a contributor at College Football Dogs, email us at info@collegefootballdogs.com. If you enjoy any College Football Dogs content, we really do appreciate any donations you can make by visiting the donate page on our website or scanning the QR code here.
College Football Dogs, for the fans.
All right. Welcome back again. Listen to Rock Hard Ball, part of the Dogs Media Network at College Football Dogs. Always, as a reminder, go check out the website, collegefootballdogs.com. Game previews and recaps coming out every single week for all the Power 4 teams. So check those out if you need a little preview of your team, or you want to go back, relive the W or relive the shame of the loss. Go check out the recaps too. I'm going to write the preview for Colorado and Nebraska this week, so keep an eye out for that. But yeah, check that out. And then another reminder, I'll plug it again. Check out the socials. They're all scrolling across the bottom there. Rock Hard Ball Pod for all the ats. Make sure you follow, like, subscribe, whatever. Much appreciated. So let's get to the NFL. And where do we want to start? Thursday Night Football, probably. Just talk that first, maybe.
Yeah.
All right. So we got Chiefs Ravens, obviously. Rematch of last year's AFC Championship game. It's Patrick Mahomes. It's Lamar Jackson. It's going to be an exciting game. It's an Arrowhead. The Chiefs obviously bringing back most of the same team, I think. Ravens basically the same thing. Kansas City is favored by 3. I don't know. What do you think?
Awesome opener. Looking at the line, I don't know. I don't know what the play is on this game. I think it might be another letdown spot in terms of last year. Lions came in for opening game, won.
Chiefs historically are not good early in the season.
Yes, but obviously also with that Lions game, Chiefs were missing 2 of their biggest players, which was huge. But I do tend to lean. I think Baltimore comes in here kind of with vengeance, and maybe takes it to him. Maybe takes it to him a little bit. But no, I'm excited. I can't wait for this game. I'm also very excited to see how much Derrick Henry gets used in this offense. Obviously, I don't think he's going to be 25, 30 touches a game kind of guy, but people are don't know what way to look at him at.
Well, yeah. I mean, I will say I personally stayed the hell away from him in fantasy drafts.
Yeah, so did I.
I don't trust him at all.
He's 30. He's on the other
too
side
old.
of 30, and
yeah,
well, not technically the other side, but he is 30, going to a new team that statistically never bodes well for a running back. And then obviously it's Lamar's going to take also a lot of those carries as well. Yeah.
No, Derrick Henry scares the hell out of me. He might still be good though. I wouldn't be shocked if he still ends up putting together a good season, maybe 1,000-yard rusher. I don't think any of that's out of the question. But I mean, quick fantasy talk here. In terms of that though, too, it's he's always had 0 receiving upside. So it's at this point, he's like you mentioned, he's not going to get 30 carries a game. He's not going to rush for 1,500 plus. Again, a 1,000, maybe 1,100-yard season for him would be a good season.
I think it could be a Mostert situation where his upside could be he very easily could lead the league in rushing touchdowns. Not saying it's gonna happen, but that's the one thing that I could understand why he would finish as a RB top 5 RB. This year.
But no, I'm excited for the game as well. Chiefs, I'm excited to kind of see what the off. I'm one thing I'm very excited to see, Xavier Worthy.
I was just about to hit on it.
I'm super excited to see how they use him. Andy Reid is the best offensive coach in the NFL. Probably has an argument as the best of all time, I think, at this point. And who knows how long he has left. So, I mean, I think they're gonna, obviously
Rice is still playing.
Rashee Rice is still playing somehow. Hollywood's obviously injured. Right? He's not playing.
Yeah,
is he?
He's playing.
Yeah. So, I think I agree with you. I wouldn't be surprised if the Ravens come in and win. But I don't know. The Chiefs are just weird. They obviously every game in the NFL matters a lot more than it does in basketball or something like that. But they're almost, the Chiefs are to a point where it's almost how LeBron's teams are
critical.
It's they kind of just
they
mail
know
it
when
in.
they need to win.
Yeah, they mail it in a little bit early on. They win the games they got. They'll win the division games and stuff like that. But they just don't really, I feel like, have an urgency to win a lot of games early on. Because they obviously, yeah, Arrowhead's very good home field. Home field advantage always plays to an advantage to some degree, but I mean, the Chiefs have also proven that they can just go other places and win. So I just don't think they care. I mean, they're coming off back-to-back Super Bowls. In the past, teams have struggled coming out of that. So we'll see. I mean,
I think the other headline here too is a lot of people are saying that Travis it's going to be like one of his worst years just because he's old. And, Andy Reid knows, okay, we have Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy is supposed to be all this. Like, we don't really need to use him as much as like we have to in the regular season. I'm curious if that's true. Like, I don't know.
No, I wouldn't be shocked at all, because I think that, like, I mean, that's kind of what you're saying. Yeah, like, I think that it'll be critical, strategical. They'll give him a lighter workload in the regular. I mean, they kind of did last year. I mean, last year was one of his worst seasons he's had since he was like very young.
And they won
and then in the playoffs, though, he was still just an animal. Like, and they fed him over and over again. And I think it'll be very similar. They'll give him a lighter workload in the regular season, and then he'll come and play well in the games that he has to. And then the playoffs, him and Mahomes are just damn near unstoppable. It's ridiculous. So no, I'm excited. Couldn't really ask for probably a better kickoff game. These are, I think, by most people's accounts, the two best teams in the AFC. Wouldn't be shocked at all if we get a rematch in the AFC Championship game this year. So yeah, gonna be a great game. Excited to watch it. All right, let's move to some prediction stuff. Let's go with go playoff teams first, then awards.
Yeah.
Good? Okay. Yeah. All right. So first up, we got the AFC playoff teams. Oops, I gotta get that off there first. All right, AFC playoff teams. So as you can see here, we did our division champs, who gets the bye as the number one overall seed in the wild cards. So we'll kind of break down why we got each teams in their respective spots. I can kind of take the lead here. We'll probably just run through all of our teams here one by one. So I got the Texans as number one overall seed and getting the bye. Maybe a bit of a controversial pick. Like I just said, most people think the Ravens and the Chiefs are the best teams in the conference, and I still think that. But my reasoning with the Texans here is that I think they have the easiest regular season schedule of those teams. Their division's much weaker, I think, than the Chiefs and the Ravens. So they have a lot more opportunities to just kind of beat up on those teams. That, and they're young, and I think they want to prove that they're here and they're ready to contend. So I think they're going to take the regular season more seriously than those other two teams, and they'll be a lot more hungry to win every game week in and week out. Ravens, again, I think that they're the best roster, I think, in the AFC. So, but the Chiefs obviously have the experience, and like we just kind of mentioned, I think they tend to mail it in a little bit early on. So that's why I got them at 3. Dolphins at 4. They're playing the toughest division, I think, in the AFC, or arguably, I guess it's right there. As you can see, I got 2 more playoffs teams from that division, and they always perform well in the regular season, it seems like. So that's why I think they win that division. Bengals at 5. I don't know why everybody just seems to kind of forget about the Bengals. They were in the Super Bowl a few years ago. Joe Burrow's back, fully healthy. Jamar Chase thing is still a little bit concerning. We'll talk about that maybe a little bit here in a bit. But he's still not practicing, so we'll see what happens there. I have to assume, though, he'll be on the field by Sunday. Wild card number 2, I got the Bills. Listen, I know that they're not the team that they used to be. That's why I don't have them winning the division, but Josh Allen's still there. I think he's the second best quarterback in the NFL. I think he himself can power that offense to a lot of good places. The defense is still solid, I think. Obviously, James Cook was good last year. I think he'll continue to improve. Kincaid's good. And then, obviously, though, the huge question mark is just like, which receiver is going to step up? Will a receiver step up at some point? And if that happens, I think they will absolutely make the playoffs and maybe even still win the division if they can get some production of the receivers. And finally, the Jets, very polarizing team, tough team to pick. Rodgers obviously coming off the torn Achilles. Will he be the same? If he's 85% of what he was like in 2021, then I think they are going to be very, very good. Obviously, that was an MVP season by him. So that's why I say even 85%, I think, would be plenty. It's a good roster around him. Garrett Wilson, I think, is disgusting. I think Breece Hall is really, really good. And the defense obviously has some really nice pieces on it as well. Sauce Gardner anchoring the secondary. So I like the Jets a lot. They're just a little bit more of a question mark with them, which is why I have them being the last team in.
Okay, yeah. You hit on why I have Ravens first. I do you already said it. I think they have the best complete roster in the AFC. And also they perform so well in the regular season year in, year out. So I don't think that they drop, games that they aren't supposed to win. So I have them 1. I have the Chiefs 2. I'm full-foot on this because you have them at 3. A lot of people have them at 1. I don't know. Is it going to be another year where they lose games that they shouldn't, kind of play around a little too much in the regular season? or is it gonna be one of those where it's like a fuck you tour again, where they win 14 games? So I think they end up performing a lot better than other people think. And then Texans, you haven't won. I still think they're a little too young. I'm still a little interested to see, like, your receiving core is a little crowded. You brought in a great receiver, but it's also a little bit of a diva. I'm curious.
They scream like OKC of like the NFL. Like they're young and like they want to win games so bad.
Okay, yeah,
And like I think
it's a great
they get the
comparison.
1 seed, but like I think that there's a good chance too that they lose like divisional round of playoffs. Like they lose at home that first game.
No, I don't hate the pick at all. I love the comparison to the Thunder. Then Dolphins last. I'm just never gonna be able to buy into the Dolphins because like we make fun of other teams who are regular season warriors and like lose, but like it's the same stuff. Like they look great the first 5 weeks, and something will happen. I'm not gonna trust them to win 12 games this year, so they just simply won't. Bengals would be much higher, obviously, if they didn't play in the NFC North, which sucks. You hit on the Jets. I don't think the Jets are the 6th seed, but if Aaron Rodgers is healthy, I think they have the best defense in football. Brees Hall looks great. So if he stays healthy, I could actually see them being way higher, but I think 6 like a safe bet. And then I have the Browns because I really like Kevin Stefanski. I don't really care who plays football for him. Who plays quarterback for him. Joe Flacco did it last year. I think you can kind of insert anybody. That defense is unbelievable. And Myles Garrett, is he the favorite for Defensive Player of the Year?
I don't think so. I think he's third.
Okay. Well,
I think
anyways.
Parsons and Watt in front of him, maybe.
Okay.
Or he might even be 4th. I think Crosby might be in front of him too.
I thought he was 2nd.
I think it's like voter fatigue a little bit. Like that's why
I think it was Parsons and then.
Oh, maybe Watt was 4th then. I don't know.
I think it would probably be Watt being 4th.
I guess that makes more sense with the voter fatigue thing.
But no. Do I think the Browns are necessarily a top 7 team? No, but they know how to win games.
Yeah, I do like the Browns pick. They're very just, I don't know what the hell's gonna happen because like you said, the quarterback. Yeah, it doesn't matter who plays for them. I think they could win, whatever 8-9 games with about anybody. But at the same time, if Deshaun Watson, like, if he somehow like returns to like 2020 form, the Browns might be like borderline one of the best teams in the NFL. Like,
yes,
if he comes back to like being like a top 5 quarterback in the NFL,
that's a big ass though.
Yeah, absolutely. But still, I mean, you never know because it's like obviously, yeah, he didn't play for a while, but still, it's like what the hell happened? It's almost kind of like a DJU type thing. Like he was almost worse than that. Like he was very, very good. And then obviously, yeah, he sat out the whole year. He had the whatever massage stuff, legal issues. But now it's just like, God, like he just is awful. Like he's just not good. So I mean, maybe a better comparison would be like to the Jets. Like if he can come back to like 85% of that, then like, yeah, they might win like 11, 12 games. Wouldn't be shocked. Other teams that I kind of considered here in the spot. I don't know. Chargers, I gave them a little bit of consideration.
They were close.
I think they're just maybe not quite ready yet. Harbaugh's first year back. Don't trust the receiver room. I mean, Lad McConkey might be the wide receiver 1 there. I don't love that for them. And like the defense is kind of aging now at this point. It's getting a little old in certain spots with some of their best players. I mean, Jags definitely still garner some consideration. Lawrence, yeah, I know we say we do a lot of projecting, but at the same time, he has had results. Like he hasn't been like bad. He just hasn't been quite what we still think he might be. So again, if he can eventually reach that, the Steelers will always win games.
I was debating between them and the Steelers and the Browns. I give it to the Browns, but that's another, like, Mike Tomlin knows how to win.
Yeah. So yeah, I think the AFC is more competitive than the NFC in terms of like how many teams could get in. Like I think the NFC it's a lot more top heavy. It's like the teams who are going to be good there. Like we all know who the good teams are going to be there. Whereas with the AFC, like, yeah, we know the Chiefs, the Chiefs, the Ravens, and the Texans are like those 3 teams are gonna win their divisions, but like everybody else is kind of like I don't really know what the hell's gonna happen. Like there's
like I don't have the Bills in. The Bills could easily win that division.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that the loss of playmakers this year it screams down year for the Bills.
Yeah, it's scary for sure. But we'll see. Okay, let's go to the NFC. Take a look there. Here are the picks. Again, I'll run through mine here really quick. Number 1 overall, taking the bye at the Niners again. I just don't think their division's super great. And then and it's just like same story with like the Ravens in the AFC. I just think the Niners have the most complete roster in the NFC. So if Purdy just continues to play well, I mean, Shanahan's a good coach. I think they'll continue to just dominate in the regular season and win games. 2, I got the Packers. As you can see, I mean, already looking at the graphic, we both kind of went, a little homer there. But I think the Packers win the North. I think them and the Lions they might have the identical records. Honestly, they might both win like 12 games, I think. And then it's just going to like come down to tiebreakers. So in this instance, I'm throwing my team a bone. I'm giving them the championship. So I got them at 2 seed, and I think again the Packers, Niners, and Lions I think are the top 3 teams in the NFC. But of course, kind of similar to like the Bengals and the Ravens. Only one of them can win the division. So number 3, I got the Falcons. Maybe slightly controversial. I think everybody thinks the NFC South is the worst division in the conference, but that's the exact reason that I have the Falcons at 3, because I think they're going to beat up on their own division. I don't really. The Bucs maybe knock them off like once, but other than that, I think they clean up the division pretty well. Pick up a lot of wins there, so I think that helps their record a lot. And then on the flip side, the Eagles, they had to play the Cowboys twice. The Commanders, you never know, might be a little frisky, so could drop some games there. The Eagles also have just kind of a little bit of a tough schedule. Anyways, obviously they're the reigning. Or not? No, they're not. Never mind. Scratch that. But I think that they'll struggle in certain spots, but I still think they win the division. And then we got the wild card number 5 Lions. Like I just said, I think they're a top 3 team in the NFC. But in this scenario, I just had the Packers win the division. Cowboys, it's pretty much the same thing as like the Packers, Lions, Eagles, Cowboys are both probably going to make the playoffs. It's just a matter of who wins the division, who doesn't. And then 7, I got the Bears. We've talked them up a little bit. I know they're rivals of the Packers. I like to make fun of them, but I do think that they're going to be a solid team this year. I have faith that Caleb Williams will be good enough year 1 right away to get him into the playoffs. And honestly, most of my reasoning that I have the Bears in the playoffs is because unlike the AFC, where it's like there's a lot of worthy teams who'd be fighting for that last playoff spot, the NFC on the flip side is more like who's gonna be that one team that kind of separates themselves from mediocrity. Because I think I'll let you kind of get through yours a little bit too, but like Bears, Rams, I don't know, maybe Cardinals, maybe Bucks, teams like that. None of them like excite me, but like one of them has to get
Somebody has to get
it. So that's why I go Bears.
Homer pick Lions. I don't think it's that been much big of a homer. You only probably have 1 or 2 years of Ben Johnson left, but while you do, you're going to be a top 3 offense in football. Defense, they had a lot of improvements. This is where like my pick could get flustered a little bit. If the people they bring on defense like truly bumps up that defense and they have a mediocre defense, it's going to be a completely different year. And I could see them. I think they win 13 games, which is crazy. I have the 49ers second solely because I think they have a little bit of I don't think they're just going to steamroll everybody like people think they will. Maybe play with their food a little too much. I have the Cowboys over the Eagles solely because you pay the guys. They always are well in the regular season. Dak played as much as I love to shit on Dak. You love to shit on Dak. He played fine last year.
He always plays well in the regular
season. You have some holes.
Him and Tua are like the same people.
Yes, you have some holes, but I think you have the best player on defense in the entire league. So I like the Cowboys to win. Where I would be flipped, as I could see the Falcons finishing above for the point you said, where Falcons should eat up on that division like quite a bit, while Cowboys probably won't. 5 Packers. Kind of hate like this pick because that division's so close. Like I don't even know if it's possible for like the Lions and the Packers to win 12 games.
Yeah.
So I think whoever doesn't win the division, I could also see like having that 6 or 7 seed, which might not be indicative of the true, talent on that team or how they played, but that's what I have it. Eagles, look, they still have way too much talent. They're going to win games unless something like last year happens, which I don't see. So, and then Rams, I solely picked the Rams over the Bears because 1, Rams have experience. I like McVay still. If Stafford stays healthy, Puka, Cooper, they're fine. And then the Bears, you're playing in a division where we were talking about the top 2 teams could have 12 wins.
Yeah.
So I think the Bears are 1 year out.
Yeah, I can see it. One more note I will give to the Bears too, like in terms of kind of a support of them, their schedule outside of the division is very winnable games. So I think that helps. But yeah, like the points you made as well. The Rams, the experience definitely helps. Injuries do scare me with them though too.
I think it's like a final year though.
Yeah,
like this is probably
last run for Stafford.
Yep.
Even Cup too is like, I don't really know. Like he's not like super old, but he's had some injuries now. He's already, not an elite athlete, so it makes it tougher. But I'm what? I don't know why you're laughing at that.
It's funny.
He wasn't. He's a really good route runner.
Yeah.
Got good hands, but he's not an elite athlete. Doesn't have burning speed.
Old.
But yeah. All
He's
right.
white.
Okay. Let's get to the
I'll
NFL
say it.
awards.
I'll be the man and say it.
All right. Yeah, sure. He's white. I heard today on Busting with the Boys that white guys actually might be back. So just shout out.
What was the reasoning for that?
I don't really remember what the conversation was, but they're talking with Peyton Manning about it. I'm pretty sure. So, yeah. Anyways, let's get to the NFL awards. We got the
Oh my god!
what?
Oh my
No,
God.
I've said it before. I
Oh
don't
my
care. I
God.
don't care how homer you think it is. I know I'm not the only person in the world that thinks this. I think that he could win MVP this year. The Packers, I think, are going to win maybe 12 games. They're going to be right in contention for a top playoff spot potentially. The receiving core is one of the deepest in the league. Notice I said deepest, not the best, but they're one of the deepest in the league. They got playmakers all over the place. A couple of the guys step up. He has really good connections going. I mean, listen, like whether you want to admit it or not, look at the stats. Watch the games. He was the best quarterback in the NFL for the last 8 games last year.
Yeah, for only 8. Those are like his 8 best games. I think throwing him
Yeah,
out.
he was a first-year starter, and he progressively just got better.
He's been in the league
he wasn't
since
necessarily
2013.
What the hell does that matter? How does that have any effect?
I just think
on him
that's a
winning
little
MVP?
crazy homer. If you would have told me the Packers win the division, sure. Yeah, they're good enough.
I really don't see how you think that's that homer.
I hope it happens. He's my QB in fantasy in all my leagues. So
I don't think it's crazy.
As a
at
Bears
all to
fan,
think
that
that
is
he's
the
gonna
stupidest
win.
thing I've ever heard you say.
no,
You're
no,
gonna put your own fantasy team over like your own emotional support for the Chicago Bears.
that's how it works.
That is not how it works.
No, you have to have.
No, that's crazy.
You have to have.
I will lose every single fantasy league and do the entire punishment if my team wins the division and maybe wins the Super Bowl.
No, if I have like CMC on my
Oh, yeah,
team
no,
and
but
the
it's-
Packers play the Niners, like I hope he
Break
tears
his leg.
ACL.
Yeah, break his leg.
It's a trade-off, though. At least, like, say the Packers do succeed, I get some good outcome, and if
See,
the
I-
Bears
I-
do better, then
I hate
fuck
the,
my fantasy
I hate the emotional hedgers. Like the people who put money on the other team. Like my
I
roommate,
totally
my
do that.
roommate Sam's like, are you gonna put money on Texas? I'm not a pussy. No. I'm gonna double down on my emotions and put money on Michigan. That way it's either gonna be a double I'm gonna kill myself game or a double
Well, that
life is
way-
awesome.
That way you get to just drink an insane amount of alcohol too. 'Cause
Regardless.
it's like I won money and my team beat the number 3 team in the country, or it's like my team lost and I also lost money, so I'm just gonna drown my
I
sorrows in
lost.
alcohol. But no, I'm gonna stand by it. I'll stand firm. I think that he is.
What are his odds on that?
Huh?
Do you know what his odds are?
Sure.
My laptop's at like 10%, so we're getting scary hours.
I bet he's not that far down.
He
He
has
cannot
the
be top
fifth
6.
best odds. To
Oh
win.
God, he is top 5.
He's the
All right.
fifth.
I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy.
A
I
little
think
crazy.
that he will win the MVP. So
6% chance.
All right, we'll just go side for side for this one. I have Patrick Mahomes. I hate the pick. I don't like it, but I think he has a really good year, especially if Xavier Worthy is as good as we think he is.
Oh yeah.
no, Patrick Mahomes has just entered the conversation of like the LeBron, like Brady thing, where it's just like, yeah, you give him MVP every year, but it's just like just a matter of if the media will.
If he
or not.
puts up the numbers,
He is
that are
obvi-
so farly ahead of everybody else to actually give it to him.
Yeah, he's obviously the best. He's obviously going to be the best quarterback, best player in the league every single year for the foreseeable future. So yeah, it's the most logical pick. It is every single year. Offensive player of the year, obviously with the same thing here. CD Lamb, they paid him. I think he's going to go out and ball.
Yep.
Cowboys, like you said, they dominate in the regular season. They put up numbers. Like CMC will obviously like be in the conversation if he's healthy, but that's just kind of like a tired like voter fatigue type thing. I think that he'd have to put up some pretty crazy numbers, I think, to win again.
I think CD has a very
So-
good chance of leading the league in yards and touchdowns.
Yeah.
Obviously, with Tyreek Hill, it's going to be tough to do the yards part, but I think he has a chance to. The amount of targets he gets a game are ridiculous. So yeah, I think I think it's one of those two though. I think either Tyreek wins or CD Lamb wins it.
Yeah,
And like a
agree.
maybe dark horse like Brees Hall, but I don't think so.
That's exactly who my guy who was like I was kind of like looking at him, I was like maybe, but I think there's too much else going on with the Jets.
Yeah.
So defensive player of the year, very chalk here. Micah Parsons. You said it earlier, he's the best defensive player in the league. He's a freak. Has he actually won one yet?
I don't
think he
think
has.
so. I don't
So
think so.
that's another reason that I think that he has more of a reason to win. I didn't really want to pick him because I hate going like just favorites.
I was gonna go
especially
with
since I
him
already took
too.
CD too, who's I don't think he's technically the favorite. I think CMC is still the favorite, isn't he?
He is still. Yeah.
So, but I mean, I couldn't just not like that because I just genuinely believe that he will win MVP. So
I was gonna pick my Micah, but at the same time, Max is up there though with me like too. He could easily lead the league in sacks. I've been awful to lead the league today in terms of like getting it out of my mouth. I like if he stays healthy all year. He has a legitimate shot to win it.
I feel like defensive player of the year too is like the biggest award. I mean, yes, rookies too, but of those top 3, it's like that's the one where if you're on a bad team, like they'll still give it to you.
Yeah.
Like, if you
I mean,
dominate.
if you are truly dominating and like your team's not very good, they don't
Mhm.
give a shit.
All right, offensive rookie of the year, again, same thing. It's like,
He's gonna be awesome.
how the hell do we think like anybody else other than him's gonna win it?
Yeah.
Barring injury, I don't think there's any.
Unless Jaden Daniels like runs for like a 2020, like
It's like RG. If he's like RG3, like maybe, but like
Yeah.
even if he replicates RG3's rookie season, I could still see Caleb Williams beating it.
I also think it really helps that he is playing for the Bears because like we're gonna get like, oh, first Bears quarterback ever
Yeah.
to do this. First, like he's gonna be the first probably throw for 4,000 this year.
30 touchdowns.
30 touchdowns. Like he's gonna break every single Chicago Bear record probably this season. It's rookie year, so I think it's gonna be tough not to give it to him.
That and then like I think it legitimately does help too, like being the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
Like they kind of like to like back it up or whatever. So yeah. Defensive rookie of the year. Kind of funny that we both went with the same guy here. I mean, I think he is second in the odds.
He is, which I thought
But-
he would have been like 4 or 5.
Because I remember when like way back when we did like I think it might have been our first ever episode of the show. We did like draft winners and losers, and I said like way back then that like he would probably be my way too early pick like for defense rookie of the year. I mean, he was an animal in college, very good player. And again, like kind of same like we just mentioned, kind of with defense player of the year. Like he's gonna play on a Vikings defense that's like everybody's gonna be like, like Vikings are not supposed to be very good this year, but like it'll be like, oh shit, you guys see what Dallas Turner did this week? Like he had 2 sacks. Like
Also, like there's some other guys who are up there in odds, but like they're never gonna give it to a corner.
no,
Like, obviously, Sauce Gardner year 1 was ridiculous. He won it though, right? Or did he?
I think so. Who
Like-
else was his rookie class?
I'm trying to think who else would it have been. But while you do that, like Terry and Arnold, I wanted to pick as a Lions homer pick because I do think his odds are actually pretty high up there, but I don't think they're going to give
It was
to
Sauce.
Was Sauce, okay. But I don't think unless he has a Sauce like year, they're not going to give it to a DB. So I like Dallas Turner, but another guy that's sneaky I wanted to put in there, he's like plus 2,200 is Chop Robinson. Obviously, Dolphins late pick because like wasn't a full, like he's kind of a raw prospect, but he is so talented.
Mhm.
So I could see him having big sack numbers this year. So those are my 2 guys, Dallas or Chop.
Who even was the top defensive player drafted this year? You remember?
I mean, so we have Caleb, Jaden, Drake. It was Dallas Turner, right? No.
He was one of the
I think it was
first.
Dallas Turner.
Or was it Terry and Arnold?
Terry and Arnold went 23. So no. Because Dallas
What
went
was Turner's
15.
like 17?
15.
Oh, it's 15. I don't remember, but yeah, because defensive players like all slipped, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because there was so many quarterbacks. Clyde, look that up for us. Who was the first?
Get the 2024.
I'm trying to
draft
find
put up.
it. Yeah.
All right. While he does that, we can move on from the award prediction. Oh wait, no, we still have one more. Coach of the year. All right. So we both went with NFC guys here. I went with Raheem Morris. Talked about it once before. I don't remember. We did those like one predictions for like. Remember when we did like the NFC, like AFC stuff?
Yeah.
I think I picked him for NFC like coach of the year. So I'm going NFL coach of the year overall. Kind of talked about it already, but it's like I think the Falcons are going to be like people know they're going to be better like than last year, obviously, just from the fact they brought in Kirk Cousins. But I think they're going to be like multiple steps better than they were last year. Like I think they're not going to be like competing to make the Super Bowl, but like I think will definitely win. They'll definitely win the division. I had in my predictions. I think they might even be the 3 seed. And I wouldn't, be shocked at all if they maybe win a playoff game, depending on the matchup they get in the first round. Maybe they get a team that overperforms a little bit in the regular season, maybe shouldn't be in that 6 slot, or if they end up in the 4, like you just kind of mentioned, maybe the Packers and like the Cowboys or Eagles or the Lions, whoever like those 2 teams that end up being the wild cards are, maybe they get beat up on by the other guy in the division a little bit, drop down to that 6 and 7, the 5's, a little worse. Falcons might win a playoff game too.
Yep.
So I think Raheem Morris going to do a good job with the squad this year. So I gave him coach of the year nod.
Coach of the year is the weirdest to me. It's like some years it just goes to whoever has the best record.
Yeah.
Other years it's like guys who, like Jim Harbaugh's the favorite. Jim Harbaugh's not going to win 11 games. So like it's a criteria. If Jim Harbaugh goes 9-8, he wins it. So looking at that, I just took kind of chalk second highest odds, Matt Eberflus.
Oh, yeah.
I think it'll be tough for the Bears to lose more than 9 games. Like I think like their base level is 9 wins.
Yeah,
So if they win 1 or 2 more, it's like he's coach of the year.
They're a very high floor, low ceiling team.
Yes.
And we've said it all off season. So yeah, I think again, they make the playoffs. And also I think like Caleb Williams, just like as a player, like depending on how he looks too, will probably affect Eberflus a little bit too. Because obviously a lot of that, more of that credit goes to the player, but still some of it goes to the coaching staff, developing him, getting him ready, especially if he's good right away. If he comes in, just is can tell he's just prepared off the bat. So yeah, I don't hate Eberflus either. But like you said, coach of the year is impossible because you never know what the hell they're going to go with.
Yeah.
Because like
they
I
gave it
feel
to
like
Stefanski last year because they didn't have a quarterback and they still went that far.
So
it's
I feel like the NFL is a lot more subjective too than like other sports. Like other sports feels like it just goes to whoever wins the most games.
Yep.
But NFL is just weird. So all right, that should do it for that. Go back to the top here. In terms of just some other, I guess, NFL news we got going on that we can talk about before we kind of wrap things up and go into week one. Trent Williams finally got the deal done. The Niners drama for the offseason kind of officially over. Ayuk got the deal done. Now Trent Williams apparently, I don't know if there's actually been a deal released yet. I made
Ayuk.
Huh?
For
No,
Trent
Ayuk
Williams?
got his Williams now. Did they release numbers yet?
Yes, I think it's like 3 for 80.
Try and find it here quick.
I could be wrong on that.
Yeah,
It is-
3 year, $82 million.
which is a lot for how old he is,
Mhm.
but he's still obviously, some would call him the best offensive lineman.
Yeah.
I think he's second, but regardless, he's top 2.
Got Panay number 1.
PFF has been a number 1.
PFF whore.
No,
I love
if-
myself a good PFF
If
whore.
PFF like is in support of your team, yeah, you're gonna go to that PFF score.
No, I don't hate PFF. Like I think they get too much hate.
Yeah.
But it's the reason they get too much hate is just because other people like blast them way too much. Where it's like they live and die by PFF. It's like, yeah, you got to take it into account with like your own opinions. But
no,
anyways,
it's a lot of money for how old he is, but again, he is still very good. So I like it. Got the deal done, and everybody's paid now except Brock, who's gonna want $450 million.
yeah, I hope to God they give him that contract because
He'll be really bad in 5 years.
I mean, yeah, he is solid. Like he's not a bad quarterback, but it's like that guy's a game manager and a half, man. Like, come on. But anyways, also in other Niners news, sadder news. I mean, it wasn't like tragic or anything, but their first round pick, Ricky Pearsall, got shot in an attempted robbery.
Yeah, bro.
So that was not good to see. Hopefully he has a speedy recovery, but I mean, Niners been in the headlines all offseason. This is a terrible reason to be in the headlines, but here they are again. So yeah, hopefully he's all right. Obviously it's an awful way to start your career. Getting shot. So, but yeah, shout out San Francisco. Continues to be one of the most beautiful places to live in the United States. So, all right. And then finally, we kind of mentioned it earlier, Jamar Chase still is not going to practice.
Which, by the way, I have not fully read. Doesn't he have 2 years left on his deal?
Yeah, I don't know if it's 2 years, but
I cannot stand this shit. At what point is a contracted contract?
I don't know. I don't know what the hell he's doing.
Wants more money.
Like, dude, if you're 2 years locked in, you sign the goddamn contract.
This is the final non-option year
okay
of his contract, but then they have like the team option next year. So yes, he basically has 2 years left because he makes 9.8 this year, and he makes 21.8 next year. So yeah, he's just doing the classic. Like we've seen it before with rookie, like the guys on rookie. Didn't Zeke do it? He wanted the contract a year early. Yeah, so I don't get why they have to do this shit. It's annoying. But I mean, I have to assume they get him back like before like week 1. Do you think he actually sits out like week 1? Like we're getting pretty damn close now. We're less than a week away from the game.
I don't think they'll let him sit out. They have way too many, goals for them to not like. I think
it's not the Chiefs where they can just let Chris Jones sit out again.
Yes, I think that they will like forcefully if it truly gets up, they're just gonna have to pay him.
Yeah,
like you're going to anyways. So it's like, all right, we're not gonna have him not play.
But these guys are just they're so screwed up in that. Like, I know like it's like it's probably hard for us to comprehend because like we don't deal with this like kind of money and like this kind of stuff. But it's like these egos are just ridiculous, dude. Like, God, like, do you guys ever think about your teams? Ever? Like, think of the cap situation. Like, obviously they're not doing it now because there's something with the cap situation. I'm sure that they want to push back, and that helps. And it's like because they just paid Burrow too, so that adds a lot of money to the books. So it's like I don't know why you guys got to do this. Like, you don't need the contract right now.
No,
it doesn't not matter.
You're on your rookie deal.
Yeah,
sign a rookie deal that's for 4 plus a team option. Like, it just drives me crazy because it's becoming a thing.
Yeah,
where the contracts, if they sign for 6, they're really 5 because
mm-hmm.
nobody's going to go into that final season of a contract year. You saw it this year with Jared Goff too. Obviously, there was a whole lot of controversy because we had him, but is he going to play? Like, it drives me up a wall that like a contract year is not actually that many years because as soon as they go into that contract year, they're going to opt out.
Yeah, no, it's getting ridiculous. That's pretty much it though. Right,
go to another
full news
break before takes and rankings.
Like an actual commercial break?
Yeah.
Uh,
I
sure.
think we're supposed to.
Okay. Well, I only have one commercial, so you guys get to all watch the College Football Dogs commercial again. But that's right. Hopefully you enjoy the commercial because it's for the fans. You listen to Rock Our Ball, part of the Dogs Media Network, College Football Dogs. We'll be right back after this same 1 minute commercial.
On the College Football Dogs website, you'll find a main page that features some of our biggest and newest stories. Our conference pages for content related to your favorite team's conference. Our team store, where we have products that are available all year long, as well as gear available for a limited time only. Our podcast page, where you can see when one of the 12 plus College Football Dogs podcasts is streaming live on social media. Our subscription page, where you can join our Discord. If you're interested in becoming a contributor at College Football Dogs, email us at info@collegefootballdogs.com. If you enjoy any College Football Dogs content, we really do appreciate any donations you can make by visiting the donate page on our website or scanning the QR code here.
College Football Dogs, for the fans.
All right. Welcome back. So obviously, yeah, we're going to wrap things up here with Rock Hard Takes, Kelly's Kinky Rankings. So first things first, let's get into Rock Hard Takes.
Bone up, folks. It's time for Rock Hard Takes.
Alrighty, so as you can see on the screen here, today's Rock Hard Takes topic is going to be acceptable times for a man to cry. So obviously, guys out there, mental health is big time now. It's always okay for a man to cry, but I mean, in a realistic fashion, we all know that there's certain times that are more acceptable than others for a man to cry. So most mine are serious, or I don't know, good chunk of mine are serious, I guess. I also got some, kind of maybe not as serious ones, but could still be serious depending on how you look at it. So yeah, let's get into it. I believe I have 101 this time, right?
You do. Yeah.
Okay. First one, I'll just go with an easy one that I think every single person on earth is acceptable to cry for. Funerals, especially like a loved one, family member, something like that dies. Nothing wrong with crying at a funeral when you lose a loved one. So go with that.
Sorry. We're gonna.
You laughing at
He's
funeral?
back. He's back.
Carter,
Sammy-
check trade.
Hey, Sammy J,
Johnson is
get the
back.
hell out of here. Get the hell out of
Welcome
here.
back.
You think you can just hide in the shadows for weeks and you can come back and tell me to check a trade for fantasy?
You should have
See what this bullshit is.
Yeah. Let's see what he's cooking up here.
What's it gonna be? Kadarius Toney.
He's in the CFL, I think.
He wants Travis Etienne and Deontay Johnson for Christian Kirk and Kyron Williams.
Think about it.
I think I lean no there, Sammy J.
Ooh.
Ooh,
At least it wasn't a big B trade.
I'm not particularly high on Kyron, so
I don't like
and I do like Etienne, so
That's not a bad.
basically my only
All right, so you took
not a bad trade proposal, Sammy J, though. We can maybe work to something. See.
all right, so you took funerals 1-1. My first one is going to be when your dog dies.
Yep.
I had that actually.
Yeah.
It's my 1-1.
I had that one in there as well.
That one's brutal. And then for my 3 is going to be when your sports team loses, an absolute heartbreaker.
Yep.
Really, the last few times I've cried, it's just like, Lions NFC Championship, brutal. It'll always get me.
Yeah. All right, next pick for me. I'm gonna go with last high school game, last high school sporting event. You walk off the football field for the last time, walk off the court for the last time. It'll be a tough time. I'll hand up. I cried after my last basketball game. It's tough to walk away from a sport that you loved playing growing up. So I think it's acceptable to cry after that. And then I'll go with birth of a child. Damn it. I'll go with, you have a kid, big moment in man's life. So I'll go with having a kid as my next one.
Okay. 2 more for me. I'm gonna go really good movie or TV show. Ending. It could be, I watched Marley and Me like a month after my yellow lab got put down. That was
No,
that was
brutal.
That was an emotional
Bad idea
wreck
by
of a
you.
movie.
Jeez.
My parents put it on for like me and all my siblings. We were young too. Like I think I was 8. Just tears the entire movie. That sucked. Not your fault. Good Will Hunting. So a movie, always good cry. And then I'm gonna go like really late night. You're by yourself, pitch black room, and the St. Jude infomercial comes on.
Okay.
I'll start tearing up at that. You're telling me like you're by yourself. It's like a 3-minute St. Jude, like, and it's just
fucking
little
sad,
kids
man.
with cancer.
It is sad,
and
but
they're
I don't know.
talking, and that shit.
To be completely honest, I'm not usually very locked. Like when that thing comes in, like I'm on my phone.
God, dude. Yeah,
You know.
it's really sad.
But it
I'm
is sad.
saying,
Yeah,
I'm
I
saying
can see what you're saying.
that's why I'm
It's
saying
just-
not like a full. I'm saying it's one of those late nights for some reason. You're still
Yeah.
up, like watching, and it's like it hits you. The background music's sad.
Yeah. Fair enough.
It's really like just. Yeah, I'll cry at those.
Okay.
Dogs are in the same category. Like the adopted dog
Yeah.
thing.
All right, next one. I'll go with Wedding Day. Day you get married. Kind of a controversial one, I think, by some people. Some people think that the groom shouldn't cry. I think it's more of a bride thing, but I've seen a couple grooms cry. I don't think it's the worst thing.
It depends. It depends how close you are with your wife. I feel like, dude, it's one of those things you hold it in.
I hope
for
you're
so
close with
long.
your wife.
Well, no,
Married her.
I mean, some people.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying, but yeah, no, I don't.
I don't know.
think
Like
it's-
ugly crying in front of that many people would suck.
I don't know. Okay, maybe not. No, not as
like
many.
a
Not as much like at a
trinkle,
ceremony.
like
but,
a
like
trinkle,
not as
where
much as,
it's
like-
you get fuzzy.
I'm not like really saying ceremony. I'm saying like first look. Like a lot of people like cry like the
Yeah,
first look. You see the bride in her dress for the first time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
th-
That
those
one,
are always
more of
funny.
that.
Like
Yeah,
some
yeah,
like
yeah.
truly, there's some ugly ass like sobs.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that's like
All right,
oh,
that's-
Yeah,
that's
no,
so
more of
gross.
like a oh my gosh, like you're beautiful, like wipe a tear from the eye.
Yeah, okay,
yeah,
yeah.
singular tear. That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah, no, that okay. Last one. I'm gonna go with maybe a little bit more of a lighthearted one. Cooking up just like a Hail Mary like parlay. That's like $5-10 to win like a couple hundred, and somehow every single leg hits, and like the one leg that you're like super confident in comes down to like the last minute and you lose in like a bad beat. That's a heartbreaker, man. Like
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong with crying over that. Like
Happens to me.
missing out on hundreds of
especially if, like, you
dollars.
sprinkle in like a little like minus 600 money line and they lose. You're
Yeah.
like, you gotta be fucking
Exactly.
kidding me.
It's like one more. It's like you have like whatever $10 to win like I don't know like 480, and it's like let's get this thing to 500, and like you throw in like just some heavy favorite to like shift the odds a little bit, and that's the leg that loses you, and like a last second field goal or some shit. Like that's
Yeah.
heartbreaking. So
I got one more pick.
Yep.
When the guys found out that Sydney Sweeney was engaged.
all right, fair enough. Where's Eric at? Eric's not in the chat tonight. He loves Sydney Sweeney.
Yeah, that was a tough day for the internet.
Yeah.
Because like nobody knew she even had a boyfriend.
Yeah.
No, she
Weird.
was,
Who is the
engaged.
lucky guy?
I want to say he's like
Satan, I think.
See,
yeah.
a fucking
the devil.
scumbag.
Yeah. the
Nah,
worst.
I don't know who he is.
Nah, I don't know.
Might be like
either.
a film like maker. or
yeah, he's probably some
something.
fucking nerd. Yeah.
It's like Sydney, not Sydney. Margot Robbie's husband is like just a complete random guy.
Yeah.
yeah, man.
Yeah. She's pregnant.
Yeah.
Very, very much so pregnant. Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, you were talking about her baby bump before the show. Like, yeah, she's pregnant. She's gonna have a baby bump.
I know, but it's just like upsetting because like someone else did that, you know?
Whoa, whoa,
Whoa, what? I guess Sydney is single now.
Whoa.
Clyde,
This
you need to hit the fucking
Clyde-
internet right now and find this
Clyde,
one out.
figure this out. Sam says Barry was partying too much. Apparently, Sam is very in tune with the.
Dog, you're talking about Sabrina Carpenter.
Yeah, I was gonna see what the
Sydney Sweeney.
I don't know who.
Jonathan Davino.
I didn't know
They've
Sabrina
been
Carpenter
engaged
had a-
since July, and they
No, because Sabrina
split,
Carpenter was
so.
dating the kid from like Saltburn, whatever.
Oh.
Like danced with his cock out.
another thing.
Nice.
Apparently, Glenn Powell got with her.
Sam is just all over.
What the? Glenn
No,
Powell.
Sydney Sweeney is engaged.
Yeah, but I'm looking. Apparently,
By the way,
Couple
Sammy
weeks
J.
before,
Sammy J.
Glenn
Get back.
Powell.
Get back in the trenches. What are we doing here on YouTube? Get back in the in Twitter in the trenches.
Yeah, no. Her and Powell never were anything. She was engaged the entire
Yeah,
time.
Sammy J. You did fuck that up.
I don't know, man.
Bad job, Sammy J.
I mean, she was, but have you guys seen that movie?
What movie?
Yes.
Dude,
Dude, she was on like SNL like 4 weeks later, and her like fiance was in the crowd.
I'm sure, dude, but like
Oh, anyone?
they had to like have had some sort of connection during that movie.
Or they're just like really good actors.
No way. Glenn Powell's a fucking
Probably that one.
Glenn Powell loves women. That guy definitely tried doing something, even though she was almost a married woman.
Are we just calling Glenn Powell a scumbag right now?
I'm not saying he's a scumbag. I'm just saying he's like a frat star. I mean, he's like 30 something and he's still like a frat guy.
He's a lot older than people think.
Yeah.
He's been around.
He's
Yeah.
very old.
No, I know he's older than I know he's like
Yeah.
30 something, but
Cool
all right.
guy, really cool.
Okay, let's get to a couple comments here. Cass is apologizing for doing a fantasy football draft, so he wasn't able to get in until now. But Cass, good to see you. Sammy says sorry, the 10:30 worked a lot better for me. Good news, Sammy J. As you can see, we're going a lot later now. Should be probably close to a 2-hour show every episode here going forward. So don't worry, double the rock hard ball content coming towards you. So you get to be boned twice as long. With sports team win the championship, we kind of talked about this actually pre-show when we were kind of making our lists.
Yeah.
We didn't know also disclaimer, we didn't know exactly each other's lists, but we were kind of spitballing a little bit. And that one's kind of one where it's like, I don't know, it's tough because like I think you said it best. Like it's not quite a crying thing. Like it's a different emotion.
It's weird,
but it's
like,
not
Michigan
quite
one. I
tears.
didn't quite cry. Well, when the Lions lost, I did cry.
Yeah. No, I think losing a game that like
I think the winning thing's more surreal.
yeah.
Like holy shit, like a team I root for actually fucking did it.
Yeah.
Like you don't know what to do with
And
it.
then you kind of just like go berserk like that. I feel like that's how I more am. I guess like, I mean, I haven't experienced a real like diehard like so like NDSU, like I rooted for NDSU growing up. Like they won so many damn titles. Like after a while, I was kind of like yeah, let's go. Like we won another like title, but like at the same time, I was kind of like, all right, well, like it's number 7 like in the last whatever 8 years.
Yeah.
But like the last like true one I experienced was the Packers winning. And that was in 2011 when I was 8 years old. So it's different. Like and I remember after that one, it's more just like jumping up and down, like running laps around my house, like excited. And then wearing my jersey to school for the next 3 weeks. But yeah, I don't know. It's definitely more of a surreal feeling, I think. Cass said that Eric couldn't make it. He's busy closing his spreadsheets from the fantasy draft. Nerd alert. Nathan, if you're still up, maybe you guys should become friends. Sammy DJ is trying to, I don't know, whatever, salvage his
Comment
YouTube hiding by being on TV. And yeah, Cass calling out Sammy J once again. Cass, you better get the full army in here. Sammy J needs a good old fashioned bullying. It's been a while since we've had the full gang in here. Eric, Tone.
Well, ever since
Howie.
we stopped watching, though, was when Clyde became the punching bag.
Yeah. Sam, you got to be in here more. Cletus needs a break. He's been getting just throttled. All right. Speaking of Cletus, though, let's get to him. It's time for Kelly's Kinky Rankings. Let's do it.
In a world of politics, war, bad beats, and watching your favorite sports teams come up short, sometimes you just need to hear a guy rank random shit. Enter your hero, Colin Kelly, here today for another edition of Kelly's Kinky Rankings.
All right, we talked about college football a little bit earlier today, but I'm just going to do my take on the losers of week 1 for college football. So starting off the bat, we're going to go number 5 is going to be Oregon is boring. It's fucking Idaho. Really cool stadium though. I wish it was played there, but nothing was really too crazy about it. I watched it because I was really praying for the upset, even though I do love Dylan Gabriel and I think he'll be pretty solid this year. But
That's all you got?
it was just boring, man. Like Idaho's, I don't know any guy in Idaho.
I love that you opened up losers of week 1 with a team that won.
No, but they're a loser. Dude, it's fucking Idaho. They're
No, they definitely were losers.
yeah, they're a loser though.
Yeah, technically though they did win.
They did win.
Yeah,
but so did Northwestern.
I was waiting for like that whole
whole
Kelly ran. He goes, boring. I'll win.
Yeah.
it's fucking boring win, not cool. It's Dylan Gabriel. Actually, I want to touch on this more. Dylan Gabriel threw for like 400 yards. How do you score only like three touchdowns out of that?
Yeah, it was a
Like, I don't know how
we kind of talked about that earlier. Yeah, it's like
but I'm like really lost for words on how
just a lot of
your defense just doesn't.
A lot of track practice
Really?
going on.
Stat padding. I like it. Go Dylan Gabriel. All right, number 4. VTech embarrassed. We hit on this earlier. The Hokies, man. I really wanted them to win. I love Enter Sandman. I love that song. They jump
sick ass intro. Yeah,
They jump up and down. Makes you so happy. Who's the QB for Vanderbilt again? He's kind of a dog.
Oh yeah, I forgot his name.
I forgot his name.
But yeah, he's kind of a darling.
He's
right
fucking cool. I like that guy.
Yeah, he's got some aura to him.
Yeah, something about it, man. I think Vanderbilt can maybe win 3 games. I like it. So
Like Vanderbilt's not really fun, but they were actually like kind of fun that game.
Yeah. Actually, I kind of like him as an underdog. It's like the
Diego Pavia.
I knew it was Diego.
Diego. I like that.
I mean, honestly, you could have just put for one of these ACC, but
Yeah.
Yeah, the ACC in general, yeah. Bad.
Yeah.
bad
Virginia
conference.
Tech. No more Enter Sandman. Give it to
Yeah.
Nebraska. That's our fucking song. We could do it at halftime. We could do two walk-ins. So I'll take that. Fuck you, VTech. Number 3, Tavon Austin University.
Okay.
Honestly, I'm gonna put it at 3 just because they got their ass kicked. But if it didn't fucking rain, I think West Virginia would have won this game.
I actually
I
had a little
really,
bit of a
really
similar
think
thought.
that.
Yeah, I think it would have been more
think
competitive. I think it kind of hurt them that it got
all of their
delayed.
fans went home. There was like
Yeah.
20 people there, and the people that were there were like diehards. But
No, it's a good point. I do agree.
yeah, they would have put more of a fight. But fuck, man,
Which is kind of weird. I feel like a lot of times delays help home teams.
it should. But like the delay was like 2.5 hours.
yeah, because then typically it's like it's even more rowdy.
Like, why the hell would you want to? Would you want to stay there longer? But yeah, especially West Virginia, man, big stadium.
Yeah, that should be like people like you were allowed to leave the stadium and come in. I would assume, right?
You would think. I don't know.
I don't know.
Because you would think that they would be able to leave,
they
go to the
would.
parking lots, go to the tailgates, put
Yeah,
down
but
even
come
more
back.
alcohol, come back, and that place is just like a war
Bump it,
zone.
man.
Dangerous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but no, nobody showed up.
Yeah,
So that makes me think it must have been if you leave, you're done.
probably.
Probably.
Which that makes sense. I'm not.
Well, that and then like at the same time too. Like I'm sure if like people like probably got wet and stuff like that. It's like it's kind of tough. Like you either gotta be like really drunk or like Kelly's like really die hard to like
yeah.
be like
Stick around.
soaking wet and be like I'm gonna go back into this game. And, like, sit here for
Also-
60 minutes.
Also, yeah, people run out of booze. West Virginia is booze school USA, so you probably just leave the game and you're like, I'll just watch it at home.
Yeah.
So we'll go with that. Number 2 is Clemson is ass because of DJU. I actually put a little clip of him throwing a garbage can because he's fucking shit.
You did that yourself.
Yeah, I made
Nice
that.
job.
Thanks, man. So yeah, I
why
put
is
him
Why is it Clemson?
because it's back when
He's
played.
blaming
Because he
Clemson
played at
for,
Clemson.
for just
And
TJ.
I genuinely think there's a Trevor Lawrence curse where Trevor Lawrence leaving has just completely fucked over Clemson forever.
Okay.
And they're stuck in a pit, and that's all because DJU.
Do you think Clemson's like able to be cursed with Dabo's relationship with the Lord?
Ooh, spin zone.
It's tough because DJU is I can't. It'd be borderline if I say he's the devil of college football, or like,
Okay.
I mean, I can't really say anything further than that because I don't really want to like say anything bad. But I mean, he's the reason why Clemson's been down a shitter for the last couple of years is because he didn't really bring them anything after T-Law being awesome.
Okay.
So
Clemson sucks because DJU.
because
played there.
DJU really fucked him over at a time. Now it's just, I don't even think Clemson really. It wasn't even that bad of a week 1 loss. I mean, it's just fucking Georgia, but I think they have a rough season ahead of them. So I'm going to put them down as a loser.
Okay.
Because they got their ass kicked. And then number 1, no fucking surprise. We're going to be doing FSU is ass because of DJU. We're doing back-to-back, baby. Fucking back-to-back, same answers. Oh, look at the target he's throwing to. Look at the target he's throwing to. It's a fucking trash can. Yeah, same thing.
Why would he throw to if he was thrown to a trash can? He probably still wouldn't even hit though.
It's just why he's throwing at it. That's why he's throwing at. I don't like his wide receivers either. FSU
Yeah, I mean, we shit on him. He is really, really bad. Receiving card is not.
It's
helping
really-
out.
it's
Oh
really
no,
fucking-
there was a couple really bad drops too in that game.
They're not
the
helping.
Boston College one.
Yeah, they're not helping.
There was some.
The
like,
few times he made some good throws, just brick for hands.
Yeah,
But to be fair, I think that's a real thing where like your quarterback plays so bad that you kind of like are just out of it. So like when the quarterback finally hits you in the hands, it's like, oh shit, like
he fight. Like,
Wow, he
had
did
a,
it.
He had a couple of throws to like the sideline that like weren't bad, and it's
Yeah.
just receivers gave no effort towards.
Yeah.
It. But yeah, DJ, you still suck. So
if I were Florida State, I would take his scholarship away and make him a student that has to pay to go to college at Florida State.
okay. He still wouldn't have to pay though because he already has NIL deals. But yeah.
I in a perfect world, I feel like they'd all realize they'd cut ties and then pick the new guy.
That's like
Who's-
when that's like
who's
the Jeff Sims like Amigos Kings Classic thing in Nebraska.
Yeah.
Like they had the Jeff Sims meal. And he
Oh
was
my
just awful. Yeah, benched.
Yeah,
And it was like, so we still have a Jeff Sims meal? Or like, what's the deal here?
It's fucking.
Do we
bad.
still have to pay this guy?
Yeah.
I mean, it's bad when your entire fan base is all chanting your fucking backup QB's name.
Yeah, that's a tough look.
Like DJ Ukulele, like I'm sorry, dude. Like that's a really bad look.
Not good.
A really
good at
bad
all.
look. So give that cream of the crop. FSU's horrible. I hope they go 0-12. That'd be really fun.
All right. Well, that probably won't happen, but we'll see.
We'll see, man. At this rate, maybe.
Yes, we will. All right. Not a bad ranking, Kelly. Appreciate the DJU hate.
Yep.
If you're gonna take one thing away from today's episode, I think it's probably that just Florida State and DJU suck.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was a good theme going throughout today. Again though, yeah. Thanks for all tuning in. Again, if you missed anything, want to go back and rewatch stuff. We talked about Georgia dominating Clemson, Notre Dame taking down A&M, Miami probably being the front runner in the ACC now. Reminder: we do not think that USC is good. Not a contender in the Big Ten, not a playoff contender. Nebraska, back. We're going to find out for sure here this weekend. We'll talk about that more on Thursday, but that should be excited.
Yep.
And yeah, NFL's back. So Thursday
Thursday.
we'll be back.
Another
We'll-
2-hour show.
Another 2-hour show. It's probably going to be a pretty regular occurrence now going forward. Thursday we'll be, have Thursday Night Football on, so we'll be recapping that a little bit, watching it live.
Week 2 preview and then week 1 preview.
Absolutely. So yeah, should be really, really fun. But again, thanks for tuning in. Make sure to check out the socials. Again, scrolling on the bottom, Rock Hard Ball Pod on pretty much everything: Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch. I don't know, TikTok. Yeah, all those. So this has been Rock Hard Ball, part of the Dogs Media Network at College Football Dogs, and we will see you all next time.